11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Yeah, that's right. Hello, sweet dreams, and welcome to PCP Deep Dive. Thank you for joining us tonight on this Sunday night on our deep dive through the nightmares and dreamscapes of the Freddyverse. We are here tonight talking Freddy's Dead, the final nightmare, but not the final Freddy movie. But at the time, we all thought it was. We all were, I'm sure, in tears that our good friend Freddy was dead. But before we get into those tears and talking about our dreams and nightmares, let me introduce everyone around. With me, as always, the tech guru, the god of technology, the master of his domain, dream domain. Ed, how are you tonight?
What's up, dude? What's going on, man? Excited to be here. Excited to talk about Freddy's Dead. I wanted to find the 3D glasses, but they're in my garage somewhere. I apologize, but maybe I'll find them before the run's over.
Hopefully, we need them because when you see things through them, it's nothing here, but in the dream, you see everything differently.
It can be anything you want it to be. Like I can make it like a glass of water.
Anything.
Or, who knows?
Anything. Joining us as always, the Yaphet Kodo to our dream interpreters. Because Yaphet Kodo, clearly the coolest man in that movie. Tim, how are you?
What's up, everyone? Very excited. I'm having a lot of fun. We're looking forward to this show. I just literally got done about 10 minutes ago watching this movie.
Nice.
Don't know if I'm dumber for it or better for it, but I guess we'll get into it. But I am pumped about The Simpsons. Let's go. I got that shit memorized. That's an episode I got memorized for years and years and years, so I'm ready to talk about that more. Let's go.
That is some great stuff. I'm excited for that. And with me, as always, my co-host, tried and true, the best damn final girl this side of a nightmare, possibly Freddy's daughter?
The lore changes. It's a weird lore.
How are you tonight, Ginny?
Great. I'm so happy. I miss you guys. I miss talking about Freddy. And I know this movie very well. Like for no reason, for no good reason. And as Freddy's Dead. I'm very familiar with Freddy's Dead I wasted probably a lot of my life loving this movie.
Yeah, I've got a story for this movie too, but I guess we're going to hold on to it. I'm your host, by the way, Jason. Pleasure to be here with everyone. Thank you for joining us. So we're going to get to Freddy's Dead in a moment, but I figured this movie that we're about to review is arguably a cartoon. So what better moment to take a pause and discuss two related Simpsons, one related Simpson episode and one I just wanted to make everyone watch. We're going to be talking about the parody of The Simpsons, of the Nightmare on Elm Street. The Simpsons did Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace, which was part of their Halloween special. And we're also going to talk about just the first 5 minutes of Bart's Soul, where they play Inagata Devita. So Tim, you've been chomping at the bit about this one. Do you have a history with this episode?
Oh, I mean, the classic Simpsons. I mean, it's Treehouse of Horror has always been my favorites. They've always done a great job parodying all our favorite horror movies and other movies, sci-fi, whatever, and stuff like this. Especially this one. It's only how long is the Simpsons Elm Street one? 5 minutes long. Still, fucking 5 minutes of brilliance. It really is. I mean, the whole episode was great, but the little nuances that go on in that episode, I absolutely love them. And Willie was the perfect Freddy.
Absolutely perfect. And yeah, I forget that it's only 5 minutes because they encapsulate so much of these movies in that 5 minutes that I forget this is only a fraction of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Ginny, do you have a history with this episode?
Yeah, because it scared me like so much. The Elm Street one, but now it's my most quoted, and also my sister gifted me a T-shirt that was "Do Not Touch Willie," and it's and it's like my favorite T-shirt. But it's such a good bit, and I was like, but the episode scared me as a kid, so that's why I'm like, I used to hate, I was terrified of Freddy as a kid, and I was like, that episode scared me so much.
I could see that. Ed, how about you? Did you have history with this?
I think I saw it because I stopped watching The Simpsons a long time ago, not because I just disliked it, but I don't know, lost track of it at some point. But whenever I turned it on, I was laughing my ass off while I was watching. I watched the full episodes on both of them, and it was really funny. The little nuances like Tim had mentioned, like they do nail everything perfectly, and to parody this thing. And Willie is like, I didn't think of it because I guess that this might be the first time I watched this, and I was like, this is the guy. You're right. As soon as I saw who it was, I'm like, that should be Freddy Krueger in this whole thing. So yeah, it's pretty funny stuff.
Yeah, I felt this even when I first, because I fell off The Simpsons too. I think at some point people our age just fell off of it, but just because there's a lot out there. But I remember watching this when it first came out, and I had already seen this movie that we're covering tonight, so I'd already kind of broken my fear of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. But I remember watching it going, oh wow, that's clever. It was funny, but it was also just like a brilliant stand-up to the entire franchise in 5 minutes. All right, so we'll go through it like we go through an episode. We'll start with Freddy Krueger. How did we feel about this version of Freddy Krueger?
Great. I mean, and with the fact that, again, to jump a little bit ahead, the fact that the way he died, he wasn't a kid toucher, he wasn't a pedophile, he wasn't kidding. He's just a guy trying to do his goddamn job. And of course, it had to be Homer Simpson of all people to set Billy on fire. The doorknobs don't work, the extinguishers don't work, and they made him sit down and wait his turn. That's what the brilliant part was. So I thought it was absolutely perfect.
Public school district.
That actually has one of my favorite lines. Like, well, I don't know how I feel about Milhouse having the same meal twice a day. Really sitting there like this, just on fire.
Really, please sit down.
It made me think of Nordberg and Naked Gun.
Yeah. Oh God, yes. Back when it was okay to laugh at O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, unfortunately, but he ruined it.
Yeah.
Lousy Smarch Weather. Also, lousy Smarch Weather, which I always say now because
it was
the 13th month, the 13th day, the 13th year, whatever.
And then so the way he becomes Freddy, as we said, is everything they're talking about replacing in this meeting that he goes and dies in. They're like, okay, so let's talk about how many, yay or nay, for fixing the door handles, nay, and then you see him not being able to get out. Yay or nay of doing the fire extinguishers, nay, and he tries to put himself out. It's just such a brilliant lead up. And then he becomes Freddy, and he vows revenge to kill all their kids, just like the movie, and he starts picking them off one by one. So how did you guys feel about the first kill? There's a kill in this. We get 2 kills in this, which I want to say is the same amount of kills we get in the movie we're talking about tonight. No, that's not true. There's 2 more if you count Freddy, but still.
Oh, wow. I was going to count Freddy.
It's low.
It's true. Freddy does count this one. Sort of.
Is it Baby Boy? Is it Martin? It's Martin.
It's
right?
Martin.
It's Martin.
Martin's the first kill.
And I know that because also it's my it's one of my, if you look at my headers for Facebook, it's one of them where he goes he's in that pose.
Oh yeah.
Where they're like, they're like, oh no, well, because he's like he just dies in a dream, and then he's like, and he dies. But then they're like, all right, we'll just roll him out quietly. We don't want the children to see him.
Yeah.
And then and then they roll him, and the kids go, and he goes,
He's in the most horrifying pose.
Not past the kindergarten.
That's my favorite. Oh.
No, that's such a great bit, and I loved Martin's dream because Martin, that's a direct correlation to Dream Warriors. That like, I'm the mathematician. He's the fucking wizard kid.
Yeah, the wizard master.
And it's kind of brutal for a Simpsons cartoon too.
It was so scary. It's so
the way
scary.
he died, it was kind of brutal. And of course, my man, he dies horribly, and you hear no matter what, you hear Nelson laugh.
He's look. I believe there are points he laughs at himself. That's just his job.
Oh yeah.
All right. So the next kill we get is Ralph. No, Ralph lives. Right? Is that the only kill we get?
No, it's the only kill, isn't it? Not just Martin.
That's
I think it's
great.
just Martin.
You're right. You're right. I thought Ralph did, but no, Ralph lived. But we do get a bunch of dream sequences. We get Bart's in the house and it morphs into this like landscape, and Willie appears with a rake.
So scary.
That was scary. Ralph has he's in the sandbox and he gets attacked by Willie in the sandbox, but he wakes up. Lisa dreams she's in the playground, and then Willie's like stalking her using this dream logic to scare her, and then she wakes herself up, which again is actually a reference to something we see in tonight's episode. In tonight's movie about waking yourself up in the dream to escape.
Yes, actually, because Tracy does that.
Yeah. And then the big fight at the end where they fight Willie, which I love this because it mirrors that the first time in the first movie when the last girl goes into the dream and asks Johnny Depp just to watch me, just don't go to sleep, and then he immediately falls asleep and he's in the dream, and Bart and Lisa do that exact same thing.
Yeah, and I love Bart's line too. It's just like, I'm gonna pray for someone to like who can actually stay up for more than 15 minutes, man. Nancy lets Glenn have it too in the first one. Like,
exactly. And that's what I mean. This movie, this 5-minute clip or this 5-minute part of the story hits so many beats like that. It feels, if you know these movies, it feels fleshed out because it's like it's hitting these beats.
But can I argue? I think I saw this episode before I watched any of the movies, which is why when you watch like the because we always watch Simpsons, but I was scared of horror movies. So if I watched like a Treehouse of Horror episode, like I didn't see The Shining, but I knew Shining bits from the episode of like the Treehouse of Horrors. So this one, it really scared me though because it was like too on the nose a little bit sometimes, where it was like the dream logic was really scary to me, and then like Willie was a great Freddy Krueger, but. That's like scary. It's scary. That is the scary. Like it's a scary segment to me.
I think it's kind of terrifying when he comes up as the spider, like bagpipes after they think they beat him. And he comes up as the spider bagpipes from the Sandlot. Like that's pretty terrifying.
Angie definitely would have been scared of that. She has a thing with spiders and Freddy Krueger and clowns.
And then also the opening sequence is scary to me a little bit because it's like the dog and it's like a very dreamlike logic, and then Willie comes in and the slashes of the bellies.
Yeah.
And what my favorite part of that one is Bart wakes up screaming, Bart, you okay? Yeah, take out the garbage. I love that.
That'll be my dad. That's 100% my father.
That's so Homer. That is so Homer. It's so great.
Oh, but Tim, we've seen the parents in these movies. You know that would actually happen.
That's what I'm saying. It's dead on. It is dead on to these stupid parents.
Especially fucking Andale. She would definitely make Kristen take out the garbage.
No, but I said the sequence with the meeting is, I think, represents every Elm Street movie.
Yes, 100%.
Every single one of them, because the parents are so stupid.
If we want a good remake, you do that. You do that PTA meeting where they're like, "Well, I went to Bible Thought in schools now," and they're like, "Well, someone was like attacked in their dreams."
Stop that kind of dreaming, okay?
Just don't do it.
The other great part of my favorite
Stop
was
doing it. It's not funny.
Willie burns to death, and he sweeps himself up and puts himself in the garbage.
Yes.
And again, that's just fucking brilliant.
And tell me that doesn't get to the heart of every working person who has to knows they just got to do their fucking job, know whether they want to or not. You get up and it's like, yep. Even if you die and make a mess, you better clean that shit up on your way out.
Oh, I forgot. Instinct.
Yeah.
Even in grueling, agonizing death, Willie did his job. That's it.
And I think unlike Freddy Krueger, who is a pedophile and kid killer. I mean, confirmed kid killer, implied pedophile, because I don't think they actually say it in any of these movies. They just kind of nod to it. But, Willie did nothing wrong. Willie actually, the only thing he did wrong was killing the kids and not their parents. But if Willie came back and murdered all those parents,
he would have been justified. It would have been revenge.
There's justice.
He would have been like Frank Castle or something.
That's right. Oh, all right. Anything else about this episode before I briefly talk about Bart's soul and then we move on?
I do just like the it comes out of the mouth.
Yeah,
This so they're like, let me get something else to there.
Oh yeah, that's hysterical. I love this episode. All right, so I asked everyone to watch Bart's Soul just because there are two things. And actually three. Ed reminded me of three, but two of them really overlap. Two things that the song In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida reminds me of, right? The first is the first time I ever heard the song, which was when Breckin Meyer got high to it in this movie. The second was the second time I heard this song, and I'm pretty sure it was within a couple of years, was the episode of The Simpsons called Bart's Soul, which starts off with Bart and Milhouse. This is literally one of my favorite, top 5 favorite Simpsons bits ever. They replace the hymns in the church with In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, and they're singing In the Garden of Eden to it. And you just see the woman playing the harp organ. And then it just cuts to, and she's like, and then collapses, which is brilliant. You get the scene where Homer's like, Marge, we used to make out to this hymn. And so then there's that. And then, of course, Ed reminded me that this was the song that Dr. Crane, a.k.a. Scarecrow, got high in Titans, which we covered on Granny's Peach Tea. So I realize every time I get stoned, I think about the song. The song plays in my head, which means it's on repeat 20 times a day, guys. This song, I live this song, is what I wanted to share. And now I have shared it with you.
Oh my God. I think for a long time when I heard this song because of this movie, I correlated the two. Immediately.
Absolutely. And I think that's why it worked so well for me with Jonathan Crane in Titans, because I'm like, yeah, well, so I gotta get stoned too. Fuck this, come on. But it was just that association is there for me. So I wanted, and also it's a good reason to share. This is my son's favorite Simpsons episode. He has a favorite Simpsons episode. It is this one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. I thought there was gonna be further Freddy thing in this because I was wondering, was he going to be the one who bought Bart's soul at the end of the episode? I was actually eagerly awaiting this, and then I'm like, oh, it's Lisa. Wow.
Yeah, no,
Damn
it. Sorry, I set up expectations real high. I just wanted you to watch the first 5 minutes because I think that bit is brilliant.
Oh, it was, but I kept watching.
I thought I knew the song, but after I saw The Simpsons, I said, "Is that really the words?" I just thought maybe it was some like deep British, heavy accented. Right. I'm like, what the fuck are they saying? What is that? I know what In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida meant then. So I'm like, oh, it's in the Garden of Eden. That makes so much more sense. So The Simpsons screwed my mind for a little while until I went, oh, that's not the real lyrics to the song. Okay.
Yeah. I think that's what's so brilliant about it. I had that same reaction too. I thought when I first heard The Simpsons, I thought the same exact thing. Did I just not understand these lyrics? Is this a religious song and I just never knew it? I never
It's
clocked
one of those
it.
songs you got the lyrics wrong for 20 years. You're like, oh shit, I should.
Right.
Thank God to the internet and lyric sheets and stuff.
Come on, we all make up our own fucking lyrics.
Oh please, I got lists.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, anything else about this episode before we go on? All right, but before we go on, I have a question for you guys. Guys, do you remember Alf?
Of course.
He's back.
Yes, of course.
In Pog form.
Pog. Remember Pogs?
Can I admit one thing? I just found out that Pamela Hayden, who plays Milhouse, is retiring.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I'm very sad because Milhouse is possibly my favorite character outside of the family. Like, he is some of the most quotables for me. Like, I say everything's coming up Milhouse all the time.
There's plenty of Milhouse to go around.
Yeah.
You don't realize how many quotes come out of that until you really sit down and think about it.
Right.
I always, whenever we get lost, I always say, "Let's never speak of this shortcut again." I always quote Homer. I always quote when we get lost somewhere. I always say that.
But my mom says I'm cool. My mom thinks I'm cool.
I love that one. And in that episode, it's not Milhouse, but it's Milhouse related. Hey, where's Milhouse? The one you know as Milhouse is gone. Oh yeah, we're exterminators. We are cleaning this place. Went to his grandmother's house. This is one of my favorite lines. Bart goes, "Did you notice if he had a small piece of paper with the word soul on it? Oh yeah, you don't forget a thing like that."
I'll take any soul. Your soul.
Yeah, your soul.
Do something.
All right. Thank you for indulging me. Well, we can end the Simpsons talk now, and let us get into Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. All right, Ginny, I'm going to start with you about your history with this, because I think you're going to start. I'm going to end because I think we need a compliment sandwich, which I think is what's going to happen. So, Ginny, what is your what's your background?
Well, we started literally with Freddy's Dead, the Iggy Pop song, which was terrifying to me because I accidentally they put it on like UPN at like Saturday afternoon, and I caught the tail end of like the greatest hits of Freddy kills, which is terrifying to me. And I'm like 11, 10, and I don't want to see that, right? Like, and that song is scary. That song is like very edgy and weird. Terrified me, traumatized me. And then I think I also had watched, because it was the same time frame, it was just on TV. So whoever was like had the TV on, they had like a few scenes from this, and it was the worst scenes. It was like the weirdest, surrealist stuff. As like a 10-year-old, you're like Wizard of Oz or like Looney Tunes. This is like, and I don't. And then Freddy's there, and like I don't like this. So this movie kind of sits with me. And then later in life, I watched this movie, and I'm like, well, this isn't scary. This is just kind of silly, but I like it. So I have those vibes. But I also will say, unfortunately, I used to like have I owned a VHS of it, and I would only we'd fall asleep to this movie, me and my twin sister in our room on a VHS player. And we would watch the first 30 minutes of this movie, fall asleep, wake up, VHS player was done. And you're like, that was nice. But then we never really watched the end of the movie. So I loved the first like 30 minutes of the movie. Anyway, this movie's weird.
It's very weird.
Seriously, like the whole, like, it's very surreal. It's very dreamy. This is the most dreamy, weird movie to me. It's very dreamy.
Yeah, I agree. Ed, now let's get into let's fucking go vicious on it, because I'm pretty sure that's where you're going. What is your history with this movie?
Jason, you know me so well at this point. Well, I saw this in the theater, like opening weekend and everything, like super hyped up about it, obviously. And got to see it in the 3D. And I had mentioned to you guys on our chat, this is the first time I watched the movie with no 3D. Like Tim, even when we did our marathon, I had the 3D still, like the glasses. And it was, so I remember I saw it in the theater, and like, yeah, I was like excited at the time, and then but knew like I didn't love everything about it. And again, this was 1991, so I was like 11 or 12 or something like that. I'm sure we probably bought tickets to. I don't know how the hell we got them, to be honest with you, because that'd be me, Steven, Kurt. Maybe just didn't give a shit at the time because we had the 3D glasses, right? So somehow someone sold us tickets to that movie. There's no question.
That was 1991. That was we don't realize that was a Wild West compared to today. 1991.
Yeah.
They were like, you're 13, you're 11, you want to go see this R-rated movie? No. You need a cigarette first.
Yeah, and I was like, and I was probably like taller than the irregular. I was probably taller than like the irregular 11-year-old or something like that. So they probably like well, okay with it. And yeah, and then I don't know. I saw it a bunch when it came out on VHS because like I mentioned, Jenny, like I've owned this movie 3 times now. So I owned it on VHS, on DVD, and on Blu-ray now. And I always thought it was like, I don't know. I guess it was. I didn't hate the movie for like a long time. Like I used to be like, oh, okay. And like Tim, when we did our marathon, this followed 5. Mm-hmm. And you have known how much I hate 5. So I was like, oh, so it's not so bad. At least it's not 5. And I don't know. Like I rewatched it yesterday as an adult, and it's pretty bad. Like,
I feel you.
This is bad. This is a bad movie. And I don't know. I was kind of disturbed by like after the movie. I'm just kind of like, I really don't like this movie, man. Like we're not talking about Joker Fall Do territory, but like I don't. Jason, you know I'm always gonna find a way to bring it up.
Well, that's not good.
And I think you hate that movie more than your review reflected. I think your hatred of that movie grew as time went on.
I think daily it grows just a little bit more each day when I have to think about it.
Wait, Phil, if you guys ever question does your show help people, I want you to know it does, because I refuse to see the movie because of your review. I mean, I ain't watching this piece of shit now.
All right, well, that's
Carl saved us.
I had reservations going in when I saw the trailer. I was like, "This looks fucking terrible." Then when you guys had the review, I was like, well, "I ain't gonna see this."
Because Tim, like we're pretty similar with
that's why.
It.
I'm like, I'm not gonna see this. If you
see that kind of like hatred pouring out of me, you're like, all right, listen, I can't fuck with this stuff. That's it.
Because there's fun hatred, and then there's actual hatred.
Yeah.
And this is actual hatred. So I was like, I ain't gonna bother seeing this movie. I'm just not gonna bother.
But with this movie though, I don't have like a.
This is a fun dislike.
I don't have. Yeah, I don't. I think it's just because of like the choices that were made in this, and we'll get into details further. But like, this is how you were ending one of my favorite franchises ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of like this is what it is.
Choices.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, I think that's more of like I really just thought about it a lot, and I was like, this is the way you chose to end this. Like, you made the decision. New Line made the decision to end this franchise, the franchise that made their studio. Right? Because they felt like it was time for them to move on, and they were going to do bigger and better things like the Lawnmower Man and the such. So they're going to go ahead and let's end
the Lawnmower Man.
Let's end the Nightmare on Elm Street. And this is the send-off you chose. That's why this movie, and it's very blah. You know what I mean? Like, this movie isn't scary. It's not even funny. It's just very mediocre. As the kids would say, it is mid. And that's like the worst place to be, I think. You're just like, blah. And that's why I think, that's been what it is. So it's kind of, I've come around to that. And I guess maybe even as a kid, I guess I always thought it was mediocre. And just
mid. You always thought it was mid back in the day.
Yeah, the 1991 mid, whatever the hell that was. I don't even remember what it was. Whatever it was back then.
It was foul.
Clearly, it was this. Oh, foul.
and it was just like you, and at the time, Tim, I don't know if you recall, like, because you said you saw it in the theater too. Like, there was a lot of buildup. There was a lot of hype. It was, the 3D glasses, and you were going to go see it, and like, they weren't trying to hide it. Freddy's dying. We're ending this franchise. And this is what you did. It's just like you did. I just kind of feel like they didn't care. Like, just, we got to end it. We got to put out a final movie, and that's it. And this is what you gave us, and it sucks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
Tim.
Yeah, I was telling before you came on, Jason. This is only the 3rd time I've seen this. I saw it in the theater.
Okay.
I saw it during the Eddie's marathon, and I watched it today. I may have seen bits and pieces here and there. Like, when YouTube came around, I might have just been poking around. But yeah, this is horrible. This is probably the most hated cast. I can't stand any of them. I mean, Breckenmeyer, I like Breckenmeyer. I'm a fan of his, but even him, I wanted to beat the shit out of him in this movie. The girl, the tough girl, what's her name? Tracy?
Debbie or Kristen, or I'm sorry, no, Tracy.
I was rooting for Freddy to kill her for the whole movie. I was like, please, please, please. She is the most annoying person in the history of this franchise. I would rather hang out with Jesse in a hot room all day than listen to this girl fucking talk one more time. She is the worst actress, and she's trying to be a badass, and she's the worst actress ever.
She's the low budget Kristen Stewart.
You would rather help Jesse unpack his room.
I would rather dance with Jesse naked than fucking hang out with this cast.
Oh
I really
God.
would.
That's great. That's great.
All right. All right. So my history and my thoughts are this. So my history with this movie is, this is, as I have said, the first Freddy movie I've ever seen. It took me that long to see a Freddy movie because I was terrified of it. Well, here's the thing. What always interested me in Freddy was the lore. And this is lore heavy. Yeah. Now, granted, we're going to get into it. It contradicts a lot of former lore, but if this is your first movie, you don't know that. So I liked the lore aspect. That's why I wanted to watch this franchise. I had a friend when I was a kid who loved this franchise. He'd always try to get me to watch it. I was too afraid. But he'd always tell me about the Son of 100 Maniacs and all that stuff. And I was really, so I watched it. I remember thinking, this isn't scary at all. I don't know why I was so afraid of this for so long, if this is what the movie is. But I also remember going, that's interesting lore building. Like I was interested in Freddy as a person. And I think what I liked about this as a kid was the flashback scenes and things like that. And the fact that it wasn't scary. The fact that it wasn't scary was what I liked about it as a kid, because I was, afraid of it. Also, and I have said, I don't know if I've talked about this on this show, but I've definitely talked about this, Ed, on Granny's. There was a 2-year period in the 90s where my family was stealing cable. And every now and then, it was a thing, right? That's what you did.
Yeah.
Until they got you. They shot the bullet, it scrambled everything. But this was one of the movies that was on pay-per-view when I was stealing cable, which means I have seen this movie at least 5 times.
Wow.
Not in its entirety, but I have seen it some form of at least 5 times, because I used to watch just because I could. I'd be like, oh shit, I'm not paying for it. I gotta watch as much of this as I can, Yeah. So that's my history with it. Having said all that, this is a terrible movie. I don't hate it at all. I actually rather enjoy it, but it's bad. I actually think it is one of those things that it's so bad it's kind of interesting, because of some of the really fucking weird choices this movie makes, which we'll get into. And something I did actually find bizarre too was the cast. Like I not the cast, the adults. I found like Yaphet Kotto. Did he have gambling debts? Why
remember Yaphet Kotto, everybody from Live and Let Die?
Ginny. Yeah, Ginny, remember? Do you remember when we covered Yaphet Kotto as Mr. Big, one of like the best James Bond villains ever to grace the screen?
I love this movie though, man. He's too good for the movie.
He is.
It's irresponsibly too good.
It's and he anchors. I think he anchors this movie. He gives this movie a little mooring. But I will say this about this movie. It is if Dream Child and Freddy's Revenge had a child, and that's this movie, because it's so weird and out there that it's like it could possibly not be a Freddy movie like the second one, but it does have the lore and a bunch of really shitty kids and kills and weird dream logic that, like, it's kind of a hybrid of the two worst Freddy movies.
With a touch of Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
too
a
much.
lot of Wizard of Oz for some, like, heavily influenced, and from what I understand, another heavy influence on this was Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
I can see that.
They influenced us a lot. And I will, Tim, I will say something, and I think this is the first time I will say this. Freddy's Revenge, I have ranked higher than this now.
Really?
Wow.
I will say that, like, and I've never said that before, and I thought about this since yesterday, since I watched it. It is weird. They're both very weird movies, but this movie doesn't even attempt to strike 1 second of fear in anything ever at any point. That's why I have to at least give Nightmare on Elm Street, like Freddy's Revenge, at least it was. No, I'm just saying, like, I can see someone being scared of that movie. I absolutely can, even though I make fun of Freddy when he comes into the real world and then he's just like, oh, I'm gonna ruin your fucking living room. That's it. Like, I'm not that threatening, but he's also not that threatening in this movie either.
He's not threatening at all in this movie. My God.
He gets put. Even when he's in the dream, and granted, he does some.
Yes.
He does kill people in the dream. So, all right, so maybe that's not the
He
right
does.
term, but, like, it's just the way he goes about it. It's just Jason. This is the thing: is that you talked about the Bugs Bunnification of this franchise, and we all. I kind of thought we pinned that on Dream Child. We were wrong.
We were wrong. We were
It's
always
here.
wrong. Hell is a masterpiece.
It starts it with.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It starts it with Super Freddy, because outside of that, Dream Child is a dark movie. Like, it is.
Yeah, very dark.
It is a dark movie, even though it's, like, goofy, but it's dark. This movie was like, hey, I really liked Super Freddy. Let's expand on that.
Yes.
And let's just go way over the top. Like, not even adult comic book stuff. Let's just go full on Looney Tunes.
Well, no, literally, he's Looney Tunes, and let's get into it. Let's talk about Freddy, right?
What's the hottest thing out there right now? The Nintendo Power Glove. Put it in the movie. That's it. That's how it was.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna need a whole segment just to talk about that Power Glove, because that is a big, and it's always been a big fucking thing that sticks in my craw when television or movies do video games, because clearly it is always done by people who have never actually even seen a video game box, let alone played one. And this is so terrible representation of what the NES was. Just saying, but we'll get into that. But he's a complete cartoon. There is nothing scary about this Freddy.
Well, to me, it was a little scary when I was like 10 years old, watching like clips of it on TV for the first time, because he's so like not manic, but it's just like, it's not like Jason where you're stoic and scary. I don't like that you're talking. I've never liked that. I've never liked that you're like, oh, I'm a cartoon character, but then there's like murder. Like it's like Tales from the Crypt level of like jarring, and it's like very alarming to me, where it's like a little cheesy. Don't like that. I will say, for me now, looking back on this whole like series, he's like the least sexy, if that makes sense. I don't like which is a horrible thing to say. And Robert Englund's a very sexy man. Like, he's very like scary and like dark and like brooding, and kind of like, not brooding, but like that's scary. He's sinister. He's very sinister. Nothing sinister going on here. And man, but like, I don't know. And then the backstory is kind of scary. And then when he's out of makeup, he's very scary. When he's like, his
Yes,
past
I agree
is
with that.
revealed. That's when he's like Robert Englund, scary. And then he gets revealed, and he's like Robert Englund, and he's like, wait, baby, no, I love you so much. And then he breaks into like sinister. But I was like, we could have just done this the whole time. Why are you like Bugs Bunny Freddy? And the makeup's weird. It's very weird. And I was like, he's just not sinister. He's not sinister. I don't like that. I don't care for that, Your Honor.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree with the makeup. I think he looks terrible. And even his kills are so like cartoonish. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Warner Brothers. I love me some cartoon violence with jokes there, but not in my Freddy movie. Like the first time we see him as Freddy, he comes out as the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, it's so again, it's jarring for a kid. I think if you're younger, maybe that's weird.
Right.
Now I'm like, I'm over it. Like, I don't know. This isn't pleasing to me.
Yeah, when he and I remembered the movie, like I basically remembered this movie like frame for frame. And yeah, when it started, I'm like, all right, here we go. Here comes on the Wicked Witch of the West thing, and I'm like, here's on the broomstick, and I'm like, oh God, like, what the fuck is damn it, man. And he's just not. And then like even the Carlos death, which is I actually think is a cool death. It's the most fucked up. It's one of the most fucked up deaths when you really think about it for a minute. But
yes,
on one hand it is, but on the other hand, he's got the chalkboard and he's doing the whole thing. And he's jumping behind him and everything.
Yeah.
Now,
it's
but
so
then
long.
It goes on forever. You're right, but then But then the menacing part, I guess, if you want to say, is, or just the real fucked up part, is that when he's like scraping the fucking chalkboard and stuff like that, and you know what he's doing to him, and he's like, no, and he's like, yes, like it's mixed in there. So this is also a movie where I think that's like
the
tone.
A lot of
the tone is all over the place. Even within scenes, it's all over the place, and that's what's like. This movie's so erratic. And Freddy himself is erratic in this movie because there are times when he gets serious, and it's very rare in this movie. There is some touches of menacing, like when he talks about how they tried to kill him, and by the way, he forgot.
Yeah.
I don't know why he forgot half of them because two of them were in the same movie that he references. So that was a little weird. I'm surprised Robert Englund didn't interject and be like, no. I've seen the movies, you have not. So let me. That actually annoyed me. That detail annoyed me because he had so much. He could have just kept going like that, and he doesn't. And then you're right, like Jenny, like what you said is when we see the flashbacks of Freddy pre getting killed, that's the most menacing he is in this movie. And when he does the whole town, every town has an Elm Street. Like, that's awesome. That's a great shot. It's a great
I do love that. I do love that. Yeah. It's a trailer like drop. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's everything cool about that. But then, you get other dumb shit like the entire Spencer sequence. Like
it's so bad. It's bad. That's Breckenmeyer, right? Spencer.
Yeah. Yes, Spencer.
It starts off okay. Yeah. I feel like everyone could start off fine. And like
these kills go on too long. They take so long.
They're moving when they go, like we're all getting in the truck. When they get in the truck, everything is terrible. And I'm like, I hate all of you. But the beginning, I was like, I love you all. I was like, you all have chemistry. You're all like, you all have trauma. Like, you mean like I connect with you a bit. Then it just goes. Then we're in Twin Peaks weird world, and I'm like, I don't like you anymore. Yeah, it's like none of you.
It's so. And it's such a weird choice about the town, which we'll get into. But yeah, going to what you were saying about Freddy and the kids, Spencer. Like that scene is indicative of why I think this is just a terrible fucking movie. Putting away my thing about shitty video games in movies, it goes on too long. It's way too involved. Like he's sitting there, and then he like if you're gonna do the Power Glove, do the Power Glove first. Don't like start playing and winning and then losing and then and then they come in and they put themselves to sleep and they try to. There's just too much of it going on for it to work. And then when eventually the kill happens, it's like okay, so who cares? And then this is the weird part for me. Since when does Freddy's kills affect him in real life the same way his kills affect him in the dream? We literally get people being sliced up. Like we saw that once. We saw it once in the first one. Every other time with the girl who gets, spun around. Tina. Every other time it's been like, Tina, thank you. Every other time it's been like they had a heart attack. They were crushed. They were in a car accident. There was always this practical thing. And the only reason Freddy let that guy see it was because what are you going to do? I'm framing you. Fuck you. It doesn't matter if you see it. The fact that everyone can just see what he's doing in this just made no sense to me.
Well, I also don't understand is when the three, because there's 3 kills in this movie, right? There's John Doe, there's Spencer, and there's Carlos, and Freddy, if you want to count Freddy as the 4th. Right?
Yeah.
So when 3 of them die, why do they suddenly have this like light fading away thing that happens to them?
He's in the energies.
Yeah, but like he's always done that. So why is that happening now? Like, what is
the
that
demons?
about? The 3 demon guys or demon people that I guess
Spencer's physical body gets sucked into hell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's kind of bizarre that you decide to start doing that now, and it also kind of seemed like it was taking away from like blood, which is why I kind of, in a weird way, outside of the language, I kind of feel like this is almost a PG-13 Freddy movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like he doesn't look as menacing. They toned down his makeup. They almost toned down the kills in a way. It's weird.
Unless this is all for like his daughter, and this is her. Because I always thought about that, where I was like, were we just messing with her at the end of the day? Like Lisa Zane, like her character, his daughter.
Well, I also think Freddy's plan, like if you think about his, Jason, do you want to, what the hell is his plan in this? Because I mean, it revolves around Freddy.
Let's do it. Yeah, no, let's do it. Unless anyone has Freddy comments, let's move on.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I feel like this falls under it, right? Like we're talking
let's
Freddy.
do it.
Let's talk about what the hell is
his lore, his very deep lore
into
a plan that I don't know what is, except that every world has an Elm Street and he wants to take it over.
Which,
but then that's great. It's iconic, actually. I'll even say that. It's actually like iconic. But the movie starts as a 10-year time jump from from Dream Child.
Which it starts with a fucking scroll, guys. It starts with a post-apocalyptic,
and I don't care for it.
Escape from New York scroll. Like, it's been 10 years, and all of the kids have been murdered, and all of the adults have gone psychotic. But then one teen was found. Found? Where was this teen hiding? That makes no sense to me.
Joe.
None of it was explained.
Yeah, so I did, and Ginny, I don't know if you know some of this or not, but I know there was early versions of the script where John Doe was supposed to be Jacob Johnson.
I mean, Your Honor, I just have to say, I'm a dork. I've read like multiple, and they're not fan fictions. I think they were like unwritten, maybe some were fan fictions, but they were like unwritten scripts that were like, they dealt with, also Freddy versus Jason scripts too, which we'll get into, but like that had the children of, like, Jacob and like, Baby Boy from the second movie and Alice kind of like maybe hooking up or partnering together. Like, we're survivors. We can like, fight Freddy together. And it's like never happened. And we're like, oh man, I wish it did. Like you had these characters and
they chose to do a 10-year time jump and not acknowledge inexplicably. It was
inexplicable.
I know there was like Alice was supposed to be in this and get killed off, and they couldn't.
Alice is still alive. She's still
didn't
out
want to do it.
We can bring her back whenever we want now. It's 2025 now.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was a way to get out of some things that they didn't want to do, and it was a way to kind of like, all right, let's just 10-year time jump, yada yada. Freddy, the last time we saw him in Dream Child, like he was sent to hell by Amanda. Remember, we were also we were also kind of like a little bit confused about the end of that movie too.
Yeah.
But as per usual, somehow Freddy is back.
But then John Doe doesn't really matter anyway in this show. Like he
doesn't, because we never find out who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
But
no,
I'm saying,
but
Jimmy, if he was Jacob Johnson, would you have been more accepting of him?
But he dies anyway. We're gonna kill him and just like boom, we're done. He wasn't a prodigy of Freddy. Like what was that? I don't know.
That kid has only two purposes. One, to bring Freddy's daughter and a couple of some fresh meat to the town, because he actually does say that. Now go fetch.
Yeah,
right. That's his plan. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know how he planned this.
Get his daughter back.
His daughter back. Plan, but anyway. And secondly, it was to get his daughter back, but also story-wise to make us question, is that really Freddy's son? Except that's such a stupid thing because they show it's a daughter, like right away. So I never once thought that might be the kid, Freddy's kid.
No.
So it would have been made much more sense if it was anyone that we had that was still alive from one of those movies, giving us some fucking tying, some through line.
Yeah, I think if you would have just said, hey, you know, if you want to go with the 10-year time jump, then so be it. If you're married to that, and you should have just made the last survivor being Jacob Johnson from Alice's son, and I would have been a little bit more accepting of who was this character. But you're giving us John Doe, who turns out to be nothing, and you're right, a terrible mystery that it's a twist that it was a daughter. Like you said that from the beginning, so it could have either been the psychiatrist, who it turns out to be Catherine Kruger, or it would have been Tracy. That's it.
Yeah.
Can't be Spencer. You know,
No.
It can't be Carlos. It can't be John Doe. So you kind of just told us who it is.
It can't even be Karen. She's still too young.
No, Tracy. Yeah,
Right,
it can't
exactly.
be Tracy either. So
Yeah, it can't be Tracy.
yeah.
And I'm saying it can't be Karen either, technically. With a 10-year time jump, she has to be way older than she is. if you think about it.
All right. So
That's true. She's like, what, like 20?
She's in her
That's actually a
20s.
very good point.
Maybe
20-year-old
in her
is
early
like-
30s, early 20s. You take a 10-year time jump to 1980, whatever Dream Child was. You minus another 10, 15 years for whatever he was gone. It doesn't add up anyway.
well, this movie, by a 10-year time jump, this movie takes place in 2001. Right? Because it's 1991, so they say 10
insane.
years from now. So this is supposed to be
Right.
2001. Let's just say she's 30. So she was born in 1971. Just assuming she's 30 years old. I mean,
And what, he doesn't start killing until 84? It's
no. That's when he was doing his post.
Other
stuff, like
activities.
his post.
But she
Yeah,
still has
no.
to be a
So
little
when
older.
he had to be doing his crimes when he was alive in the 70s.
Yeah. And then little babies, like little, oh gosh darn it. 60s maybe. This is a
60s,
weird-
right? Late 60s, 70s, he had to be doing that because I don't think he I never got the impression Freddy was killed and then instantly was revived and came back. Like, I
70s.
do
It was,
think- yeah, there was a time gap.
late
There is a time
70s
gap
he
for
must have been
sure.
doing it because then the kids are like 14. They're 15 in the script of the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So
yeah.
actually, I think the math may or may not work then. Right? So she was born in 71 to 2001.
This
Just
is
say she's
insane.
30. We're just
Catherine?
throwing- Do you think she wasn't?
No, Catherine. So it's 2001. This movie's set in 2001.
This movie's supposed to be set in 2001. It's 10 years after
I can't even.
1991 when it
No,
came
I
out.
don't. I can't do this.
So, but how old do you think
maybe
Catherine,
she's 30. All right, so maybe
How-
she's 30.
I'm
Maybe
just
it
saying,
works.
how old do you think Catherine is? Am I off base? on this?
Yeah, well, 30. The actress is 30 in this movie. She's 30.
Okay, so she was
All
born
right,
in
that does
71.
work.
So that's
She's 30,
not-
yeah.
No,
All right.
that's a
Oh
fair
my
question
God.
to ask.
No,
That's a
it's
fair
not
question
bad.
to ask because the 10-year time gap, all of a sudden, it's just jarring, and you're just
Oh
like,
my God,
oh.
it's so weird. Oh Lord.
And I do
I'm
think
sure-
it was just because they wanted to start with a clean slate. They didn't want
Yeah.
to worry about Alice or Jacob or anyone else.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
just like, 10 years, yada yada. They basically yada yada the other 5 movies and moved on.
And then it really is that it's her story. The kids don't matter. They kind of don't
The
matter.
kids don't matter. These kids,
No.
no one gives a shit about any of them because we don't. Number one, they're there just for fodder for Freddy to run through.
I was very much in love with Sean Greenblatt for 2 years of my life, but he was also in Newsies, the Christian Bale movie Newsies. If
Oh
you've
my
seen
God.
that, I mean, my
Yes,
sister.
I have actually.
And now, did you all watch what was the movie, the terrible Eli Roth movie that came out?
Which one?
Be a bit more specific, Ginny.
Oh,
Not
God.
Thanksgiving because I love Thanksgiving.
I love
was
Thanksgiving.
Awesome.
What's the other one? The bad one, the really bad one.
Hostel?
Borderlands.
Borderlands.
Oh, I forgot
Oh,
that's Eli
Tom,
Roth.
thank you, Tom. My husband said Borderlands. His daughter is in Borderlands. Who's the girl with the bunny ears?
Really? That's his daughter.
Yeah, isn't that
Tiny
crazy?
Tina?
It was my I was like, what was I watching the Barbie movie? And I was like, this girl, Ariana Greenblatt, like, why is that name weird? And her dad is John Doe of this movie. Isn't that crazy?
This
so
is-
good for
Acting
him.
talent.
This is like-
generation past her father. Because he's so bad.
This is like a B movie
He's not
dynasty.
Can I say, I want to throw something in there too. When I said Wizard of Oz, I wasn't just talking about the opening sequence, which again, as a huge Wizard of Oz guy, I didn't care about the whole Wicked Witch thing. I thought it was funny. Was it bad for this franchise and this character? Of course. I still thought it was pretty funny. But my other reference to that is John Doe is the Scarecrow. He has no memory. He doesn't know who he is, what he is, or where he is, but he fucking knows everything. That's the Scarecrow. I don't know where I am, where I'm from. Freddy Krueger, though. What do you mean? How do you know who Freddy is? He has a son. Who has a son? Freddy. How do you know who Freddy is? You don't know anything.
Go this way. We gotta go this way. We gotta walk this way.
It's like,
Oh
what's
my
going
God.
on, Scarecrow? I don't understand.
The leap
Holy
that he
shit.
takes, takes from seeing the fucking drawing to assuming that he's Freddy's son is so stupid.
It is.
It's so stupid. It fucking hurts.
No, you sound like this guy.
But no, but she takes him to the town to jar his memory, right? And then all of a sudden it must have worked because the fucking guy knows everything. Oh, he's talking about Freddy. Freddy must have a kid. We got to go find this guy. It's like, what just happened, Scarecrow? Now you know everything. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
The hypotenuse of Pythagorean's theorem is A squared plus B is C squared.
That's exactly what it is. He hits that town, and I guess you know what? Never mind. It worked. Karen was correct. We brought him to town. The fucking guy remembered everything. You know what? Plot point settled. I'll give in. I'll give in to that one.
You know, but now you're making me think. Now I think all three of these kids are representative: the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, and the Cowardly Lion. Breckenmeyer, clearly the Cowardly Lion, always escaping into his puff.
Yeah.
The girl, right? Fucking super tough. I don't feel shit. I'll kick your ass, Freddy. I'll burn myself to survive. Tim, you're onto something here.
What do you mean?
I bet Toto is the wizard.
Ooh.
Jason, are you referring to Tracy, the weird mashup of Elm Street 3, Kristen? Because you got to differentiate, because we said Kristen is very different in those two movies. So Elm Street 3, Kristen, and Debbie somehow mashed up on like character. Here you go.
Yes, absolutely.
Kristen Stewart. She's like a weird Kristen's prototype Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, right.
Remember you mentioned the whole outside of the dream thing. When they showed John Doe walking up the invisible steps. Yeah. First of all,
it's a fucking cartoon.
You're not going anywhere. Where is he going? I understand he's going invisible steps, but in the real world, he just be walking on the ceiling or banging in the walls and shit. There was no second level.
No, Tim, you're 100% right, because that's not like Freddy's thing has never been you create magic in the real world. Like, just think about it for a second, like Philip, right? Back in Dream Warriors.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I know
Philip sleptwalked and walked around. So that fine,
makes sense.
Freddy was technically doing that to him, right? In the dream. What we see is the dream. Right?
Is this Catherine's weird? Like, she's not like not sleeping though. Like, does Yaphet Kotto go like, "You're not sleeping, are you?" Does he say that to her?
No, she's been having a reoccurring dream of
she's been having reoccurring dreams. Okay,
does the water tower scene? Yeah, that we see her. We see one time that she's having that reoccurring dream.
And Freddy is a kid. She's the kid.
Yeah, but
maybe she's just bringing the babies in by accident, like the kids in.
Well, no. It's just actually, because John Doe is the one who is sent as the last teenager in Springwood, to the neighboring town to bring them back to Springwood so he can do what he's got to do. Because apparently he can't leave Springwood for some reason, and that doesn't fully get explained why he's limited to that. But whatever, we'll just go based on, because in Freddy versus Jason. Well, no, but they also say like Springwood is where there's got to be fear of him. So no one outside knows he really exists. So technically, I guess that's why.
Freddy versus Jason.
I do want to point out that I think that's bullshit that no one outside of Springwood knows he exists in this movie. Because in every movie before, it's been like, I come to your dreams. What do you want from me? I come to your dreams. I make you kill yourself. I make you OD maybe. No one knows. But this one,
Jason,
he's literally
America.
Why are you making fun?
Because I miss Oz. That's it.
Fair enough.
That's it. But in this one, it's like 10 years later. like, you don't think people would notice outside of a town if you have wiped out every single child in that town and left every single adult a chattering mad person? Like, I'm sorry, that would garner attention.
It would. It's something, but I just wonder what the explanation that reality gets. Right? Like, is reality really telling people? Are they actually going, like, let's just say authorities from outside of Springwood show up and they're talking to these people and they're saying, all right, what happened? Well, there was this guy who we burnt to death years ago, and he went and has been murdering our children in their dreams. I don't know if they would say that, though, or if they would, and they would be.
But then you're going to show up to the town fair, and then, like, you know, Roseanne and Tom Arnold are there. And
Yeah.
what are you going to do with
Which
that?
is so weird.
I mean, it probably
Remember
should
when
have
Tom
been.
Arnold was in this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom
Which is-
Arnold.
Do you remember before Roseanne was a Nazi?
Yes, pre that she was in Springwood.
They have such their cameos took me out of it so much. Like, just briefly talk about it, like, because it's weird to see them outside of the 1990s, and I currently live outside of the 1990s. But seeing them together, it's weird. But B, it's also like, oh, kids, come home with me. Oh, kids, I love kids. I'll cook you. I'll hide you. Oh, and then Tom Arnold's like, you know what brings him? Come on, andale. And it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
I kind of wish he did say andale now.
I kind of did.
This should have been like an andale like nod should have happened.
But the kids just disappear when they die, and no,
That'd be bodies.
That's the thing. That's the inexplicable thing. And I don't think, and I'll say this, I don't think, but if people came in and every one of these jabbering lunatics started talking about Freddy, no, they're not going to believe them, but they're definitely going to go, investigation needs to be done, as there are no kids in this town and every single adult is raving about this imaginary creature. We have to figure out what's going on here. And that's a different movie. That's another movie where, you know, that's like a Wishmaster movie where you put him back in the bottle at the end and it never happened or whatever. But like, but that's the thing. It's like, it opens up too many questions to be 10 years later. He has destroyed this town. Like, people would notice that.
I also think they should have had like an opening montage of him, like maybe killing other kids and stuff, like achieving this instead of just having it as a type, as a scroll in the beginning of the movie. Like, you could have done something. I don't know. Just to say he kind of wiped out everybody just seems lazy. But we were talking about Freddy.
The whole movie's lazy.
No, this movie's incredibly lazy. The whole fucking thing is lazy. Because I don't even think they had a movie. I think it was just like, we have to end this franchise. Let's get Robert here. He'll show up. He'll do whatever we want him to do anyway. And any cameos will get them to say farewell and to garner some attention. We can throw them in the trailer. And that's it. Like, that's it. Because there's not much of anything here.
And then the more, again, I kind of like, I forgave it when I was like 14. Or I thought it was like, I knew it was silly when you're like 16. Like, this is the dumb part, but it's like cheesy and funny. It's like not violent. This is great. I do watch it now and I'm like, this is just, I love Goo Goo Dolls. I love the soundtrack. It's very early, you know, that soundtrack is fabulous. I'm just like, this is sucky. And it gets weird. The ending post, when everyone the boys die because the girls are living. We are like surviving. And then
Doc makes it through.
Doc does make it. I love that. Talk about when no African Americans die in this. The Freddy backstories. Do you want to talk about that? The Freddy backstory?
Well, yeah. I mean, we're talking about Freddy. By the way, just before I forget, one thing I will say that's awesome about the beginning of this movie, and it's the only thing, that when we get the quote, the regular quote in the beginning of the movie,
I do love it. I love the opening.
Ready for prime time, bitch, Freddy Krueger. I totally forgot that actually happened, and I'm like, yes.
I actually really appreciated that because all of these movies start with a highfalutin quote about dreams or something. Yes. And this being the last one is like, you know who we're also going to quote? You know who at this point knows a lot about dreams? Mr. Frederick Krueger right here.
Yes.
Nishi, Frederick Krueger, Edgar Allan Poe.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Frederick Nietzsche, Frederick Krueger, huh?
It is one of my favorite Freddy quotes, like in the entire franchise. So
it is a good one.
Also, Your Honor, it is. I listened to the Goo Goo Dolls song. It's on like every playlist I have, but it's like da-na-na-na. It's like the quote, da-na-na-na-na. It's like a very eerie like opening to the Goo Goo Doll song. And then it triggers into Welcome to Prime Time, bitch. And it's like, da-na-na, I've been with the river. I'm drowning in a sunless sea. And I love it. And I'm obsessed with it. It's such a good opening.
But do you like it more than Nightmare?
No, that's really hard for me.
No, I
It's a personal question.
I don't either.
Nightmare, of course, but I love the Goo Goo Dolls. It's my favorite. Is this my favorite Goo Goo Doll song? Yes, ever.
Thanks.
All right, so yeah, let's get into the lore then. We talked Freddy. Let's get into the lore on Freddy. Unless anyone else has anything to add, Freddy's a character.
No, I was just going to talk about his plan,
All right.
but that's basically around the lore because that's where I feel
Yeah.
like this movie's such tripping over itself repeatedly.
Yeah,
That's
so I'm gonna say this. The lore is for me the most interesting part of this movie, even if it does contradict some shit and doesn't always make sense. I do think the strongest part of this movie is seeing Alice Cooper. By the way, Alice Cooper, nice to see him as Freddy's abusive stepdad.
Yeah.
That's a chilling scene. I think that's a really good scene.
It's so off-putting.
It is.
And the scene where he catches, where it's Robert Englund as, without the makeup, pre-death, and he
Yeah.
catches his wife,
Yeah.
and then as stupid as I think it is that he just kills her in broad daylight, I still think that's really chilling. Where you see him take her violently away, follow the daughter to see all of these tools of or instruments of torture come back, and you just see him finishing off her mother, and he turns and he says, well, I'm sorry, your mother had to take a nap because she saw some things that she would talk about, but you're not going to talk about it. I thought those two scenes are, I think, the best scenes of the movie.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. I think that's really cool. We also see he made other gloves. He had other instruments and stuff like that. So that was pretty nuts. And I also think him murdering her in broad daylight, like in his backyard, she didn't
Checks
care.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
didn't care
I guess
at that
you're right.
point. I also want to know where you guys thought this, because I feel like the movie doesn't fully explain this, is the timeline of Freddy's crimes. So,
Ooh.
based on the movie, Jason, I'm sure this is where you were going. Okay. So
Go for it.
Okay. So
No, need to.
according to that scene, Freddy has had his special work that he's been up to, as he describes it, right? He's had his special work. So he's been assumingly murdering children prior to this, right?
Yes.
Then his wife finds out. His daughter witnesses it, says she won't tell. And then did she rat him out and tell the authorities?
100%.
Right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
she went,
100%.
okay,
Because
no.
that
Go
scene
ahead.
cuts back to him as her as an adult, and he said, "But you did tell." He addresses.
Yeah, he does.
So no, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. So she goes ahead, gets him arrested by the authorities, and then he goes to trial, and that's when the judge got fat and all of that other stuff happened.
Now I'll say this because I've never actually done this research, but here let's do it now.
Okay.
This is weird to me. So this says the 60s, but Catherine can't be this old. She must be younger. There's a Freddy versus Jason lore in here, but mid 40s. My God. So 61 is they have a baby, which was Catherine. Catherine is 61, so she's like 30.
So she's 40 in this
She's
movie.
40. It was 220. Yeah, what the?
She's
They're
40.
wrong.
We had
They're going off this is a bad timeline.
because of the 10-year time jump. She's 40.
Yeah.
But it
Which
looks
you
like
didn't have to have the 10-year time jump. It was
Totally unnecessary.
unnecessary.
no. So I choose to believe that this is so 66. They're saying 1966. He murders his wife. Our witnesses was arrested for murder of 20 children. His daughter was taken away, and then but they're all unspecified dates till the 19 like 2 years later. So 1968 is when the parents do it, kill him. And then 1981. 1981 is they say the first movie, and then 86 is Freddy 2.
Okay, so 81 is when All right, so
The first movie takes place.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
that's
there's,
when that takes place.
but they're just saying 19, like 10, like almost like 10 years beforehand they do it. So, but this is just a weird timeline.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So we don't actually. We're assuming 91 is when Freddy's Dead happens,
I like the way, yeah.
and then the time jump. So
Yeah.
actually, we're assuming 2001, but we might be wrong.
But I subscribe to the TV show sometimes. When that lore.
This is where Austin Powers has to pull up and go, just have a good time and ignore all that
Yeah.
stuff, okay? And then drive away.
Yeah. But I'll say this is a ding to the movie. If 4 of us who are intelligent adults who have watched all of these movies are still struggling to figure out what the fucking timeline is, I think that might be a problem with the writing.
This movie, yeah.
Oh, it is. I mean, we had
Yeah.
a much tougher time trying to figure out the X-Men franchise, but this is not on that level. But
And that had multiverses.
Dude, that's like 5 timelines.
Multiverses.
inadvertently, yes. But,
You know what? I dig the always want to see change of the lore, because I think he's 10 times scarier now. Because if you look at any serial killer who, like, you take the BTK killer out of Kansas, he had a family. He had a wife and 3 kids who never knew what he was fucking doing, murdering and torturing women. He had pictures of them. No one knew that his wife and kids had no clue that he was doing this. I think that makes Freddy 10 times more scarier. Freddy Krueger pre-Nightmare guy. So I don't mind them changing the lore a little bit like that. I actually think that makes him a lot more frightening. And in this movie, like you said, it's the best part of it, I think, which makes him way more frightening.
And the fact that also, I mean, in a way, he has a daughter, and we never ever talk about it in any other movie or like.
But why would we?
He likes girl. He said girls are always his foils. Essentially, he's like, and the girls are more vulnerable. But maybe it's because he lost his daughter, and he's like, I don't know. Goes
and that is
post his death in a way.
And that is a serial killer thing. Is you are killing manifestations or symbolic manifestations of people who either hurt you or that you can't have, right? It's acting out a fantasy. So one could make the argument every girl he killed in this franchise was because he lost his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Which he does say is, and that's what I was getting at, was his motivation, because he tells Catherine is like, oh, once they took you away, like I took away all their children. Like, you were caught on a murdering spree. They were murdering children prior. You were murdering children prior. They caught you when your daughter told on you. And then you were like, now I'm going to get the revenge. Like, prior was just kind of like, not really.
I think it was more of an attack of opportunity with him. It's like, oh, you're gonna bring me back to murder their kids? Wait, I need justification here. They took my daughter. I'm gonna take them. And one of those floating heads was like, I'm sorry to bust your bubble, Freddy, but you were killing their kids before. Shut up.
Exactly.
It's a noble cause, but you were already doing this.
Well, by the way, don't forget too. By the way, when we get in a couple weeks, when we get to Freddy vs. Jason, we do get a reenactment again of his origin again.
It's horribly my favorite. Well, that's not my favorite. It's my favorite opening.
No, it's fine. But I'm just saying, like, we're gonna get this again, so we can try to remember the details that we got here.
But
and see how it goes.
Catherine also, like, I also have a weird like Mandela effect memory of this movie, which is the ending, which is where they just kind of figure out we're just gonna blow him up. What's the mission? We'll pull him out of the dream, we blow him up.
I'm gonna say this. I like the fact that the answer to this is pull him out of the dream and kill him in real life, because that was the answer in the first one, and Nancy just kind of didn't do it. She never escaped the dream, right? That was the point of what happens at the end, is she thinks she does, but she doesn't. So I want to applaud the movie for bringing that concept back. But I'm sorry, Ginny, I've interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, but I think every time, because again, I used to just watch I really did just watch like the first hour of this movie, and then I fell asleep, and then like the last 20 minutes really kind of, and it already does. It's kind of weird. It's just like baby girl, free Kristen Stewart, and Tracy, and then Yahikoto and Catherine like teaming up, being like, "We're gonna get him." but with science. And it's like a bit weird. And they're just like kind of fake fighting, and everybody gets a little bit dreamed up. But then the bomb, I just confused Hellraiser, the ending of Hellraiser, and this movie. And it really messed me and my twin sister up because they were like, because she says in this movie, and we thought it was Hellraiser, where she gives him a kiss and says Happy Father's Day and blows him up. And we're like, what? We didn't realize this is his daughter when we saw it. It was really weird to us. And it was very, I don't know, it really stuck out. And it wasn't Father's Day, so I don't know why she said it. And I'll never get over
Something
it.
to say.
Yeah, that doesn't make any fucking sense that she says that. Like, it's just totally out of left field.
I know.
It's just like,
I know.
whatever. We got to have some sort of one-liner for her to say.
I know.
Well,
she
she's
kills him.
She is Freddy's daughter. I think the quipping runs in the genes, runs in the blood.
It's so weird. It was so weird as a kid because I really was scared of Freddy Krueger. I was like so scared of Freddy Krueger. So I just kind of see him like I don't know, like tied up, and she just kind of she's like a nice woman. Give him a kiss. Was like Happy Father's Day. I was like, what the F is going on? Like I didn't even think he was his daughter. It was just like, it was so weird to me.
But then he has one more last one because he has to look at the camera in the 3D, like, kids, boom, boom, and then like the explosion happens.
And then those three fucking heads float around, which I gotta say, I have seen this in 3D once. It looks fine in 3D. It looks terrible outside of 3D. Like none of the 3D stuff works in this movie without 3D, and I think that's a big problem, because if you're making 3D, you got to make for both. You have to assume people are going to watch it without, and there are parts where like these things are floating around, and I'm like, what are they, the three fucking Stooges? Like, what are they doing? They're just floating around each other.
So like fishies.
Yeah, well, like I was telling you guys Jason, did you have a chance to watch the special features? I had a chance.
I did not. So you're going to have to be the special feature.
No. It's not even that. It's just that they have interviews with Rachel Talalay. So yes, but she makes it sound like the studio kind of just threw the 3D on her at the last minute.
About that.
Like they were just like, hey, we need 3D. This movie's going to have a 3D the last 10 minutes. Because she seems not happy about the 3D part when she's talking about it. And you're 100% right. Without the 3D glasses, it's dumb. It looks
so bad.
Dumb as shit. Like the bat, this, and then the knife. And you can tell they're doing all 3D post shit. And none of it looks so fucking stupid without the 3D glasses.
No, I agree. And normally I would say I wouldn't ding it because it's an older movie. But if you watch, what is it, Friday the 13th 2 or 3, the one that's in 3D,
right.
I have watched that with and without. And yeah, I can tell what the 3D moments are supposed to be, but it doesn't look bad outside of it. It's like, oh, it's an axe coming at the screen. Okay. Yeah. In 3D, I would flinch. Now I'm just like, that's cool. Like, so even though this is an older movie, it could have done better with the 3D.
That's what I'm saying. It just seems like as an afterthought. It wasn't like they had to like slap a gimmick on there because it's the last Nightmare on Elm Street, and they knew that like 5 did not perform well at the theater, so they had to like reel you back in, and that was the way. And by the way, this did have the biggest opening weekend until Freddy vs. Jason in the whole franchise. So I guess it worked. But it was so bad.
Jenny, you had something?
No, just that ending. I mean, then you go into Freddy's Dead, but I was like, that ending, just my own adult Mandela effect is that, like, I used to confuse it with Hellraiser because the end of Hellraiser is that it's a girl who's her dad kind of gets ripped apart and is like his body, and then she like runs out of the room. That's way darker than this. But I was just like, it was so weird to me because like Freddy doesn't have children, and I was like a kid. I was like, this is this is weird. And then you go into the montage.
Montage. Did you guys like the idea though of bringing Freddy having a daughter, and then?
I am okay with. I kind of do like that. I like that she does put the glove. It's a weird that just the ending. I don't hate that ending where he gets humanized for a second. He's like Robert Englund in a sweater, and he's like, "Hey, honey, come back. Like, don't hit me anymore. Please don't hit me." And she's like, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, the glove. Put the glove on." And she's like, You want me to put the glove on, and then she can't, like,
Try it on.
I don't hate that. I like that a lot. It's just weird.
I like the idea as a last movie.
Yeah.
That, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna bring in prodigy, Freddy's progeny, rather.
Progeny.
Sorry, and they're gonna be part of, not prodigy, like smack my bitch up. No, we're not talking.
And that's what I was thinking too, actually.
Yeah. But like, we're gonna bring in Freddy's kid, and she's going to be the reason that we finally can kill him, because they also needed to find a way to convince the audience he was really dead. Because literally, this is a guy who comes back before the movie's over.
Usually,
Like, he doesn't even wait. It's like, oh, we've killed Freddy. No, you haven't. Roll credits.
exactly.
So I like the fact that they're like, all right, we're gonna make it blood killing blood. We're gonna reflect back to that first movie. I do think there were some interesting and good choices here, and those are part of it. I like the fact they give him a family. It gives him more motivation. Yes, it does kind of muddle some of the things they established before, but I don't think enough that it ruins it. So yeah, actually, this part about it, Ed, in answer to your question, I think is one of the things that I would say works in it, was the addition of the daughter.
Tim, what did you
Yeah, Tim, you've been quiet a while.
No, I do like it, like I said, because I like the idea that he was doing this shit with a wife and a kid at home. Like my timeline would be, let's not get into that again, but my thing would be he killed the mother, said it was, accident, whatever went on, and he went on killing with the daughter in the house, raising this daughter, with still killing all these kids. Then he gets caught. The daughter says, oh, yeah, by the way, my dad's got like murder things in the basement. Oh, really? Oh, let's, then he gets arrested. Then the trial, mistrial, they kill him. There you go. That would be my personal timeline. So I like the idea. Bringing her back all these years later as to be the one, I mean, it would make total sense, I guess. Because he said it while cutting his fingers off. I've been buried, holy water. I've been this, I've been that. So what are you going to do? Oh, that's right. Your blood can kill you. Your daughter's the one that's going to have to do it. And she did it. So I don't mind it at all.
And I think it gives a nice parallel to in the previous ones, at least two of them, it's been his mother. So they've always kind of hinted at that it's got to be in the bloodlines that ends this. So again, like I that's why I don't hate this movie. I think there's enough here that could have been a good ending. And then they jump 10 years ahead and put Roseanne in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a bad movie inherently. It's just, it's got some good decisions and some really fucking bizarre decisions.
All the flashbacks seem to think are actually, even the kids teasing him, son of 100, maniac.
That's good.
That is creepy.
When he has the mouse and he crushes the mouse's head, that was a great
serial
scene.
killer behavior. Like,
yeah, I think all that stuff was good. It's just the stuff in Springfield, the whole Wingwood, excuse me, in the whole town, and Freddy's choices and stuff is just all so fucking weird. But I mean, you said, who said it? There's a movie there. It's there. It just wasn't executed anywhere near the way it should have been.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a movie here. Like the stuff that we were talking about, like with the ending, there's some interesting stuff there. It was just like I said, I feel like they just had to all right, let's just get some fodder for him. Let's clear out the town because we don't want to have to deal with what the last couple of movies were setting up. So 10-year time gap, yada yada, move on. And that's where I think it was just lazy. There's a lot of lazy choices that are made throughout this movie, and the way too far leaning. And this was an actual choice by the director who was also writing it too. She chose to lean more into a fun comedic send off, and I'm like, you took the wrong lessons from the last couple of movies of lightening Freddy up a little bit to this.
Because I'm gonna say this. He is a cartoon character in this, and that bothers me. Like, I know I said that I went off on that tirade about the kill with the power glove, but I don't think that's the worst kill in the movie. I think the worst kill in the movie, and it's because of Freddy particularly, is when he drops John Doe on the spikes, and he's literally Bugs Bunny. Literally, he's like, and he looks at the camera. It's like, what am I watching?
Oh man, that's tough. I that one is bad.
Cutting of fabric through like the sky. And,
Yeah, and he's like floating in the
Yeah.
parachute and everything like that and everything. I still think Spencer's death is worse.
Really?
I do because it's just the Power Glove stuff, and then him having the score and like the video game "Be Like Me," and all of that. Like that part is kind of funny. It's an interesting concept, but it just goes nowhere. And then Spencer's bouncing around like he is in the fucking video game, and he has a boing, boing, boing. You see him doing that, and his head's going through the fucking ceiling.
Yeah, that was.
What are we doing? What is this?
You're right.
No blood, by the way. His head
No blood.
through walls.
Tim,
Going through
PG-13 Freddy. I'm telling you, it's like PG-13 Freddy.
Thinking about I can show my kids. Like, what's
Yes.
the most wholesome? No curse. Not well. They say, what's the map say? The map says we're fucked, which is kind
We're
of funny.
fucked.
It's like,
Oh, that's a fun line.
Premium, you're
What is
fucking.
that?
that is
There's some good
fun.
lines I like.
The worst one is the deaf guy. I mean, it is too long. It's way too long.
It's fucked up.
Yeah.
But for me personally, not being able to hear is a terrifying concept. And for that first couple of minutes, we don't hear nothing. I'm like, God damn, this is playing way into my insecurities right now. I don't like it. I don't like not being able to hear anything.
Flashing Freddy, and Freddy's kind of like hiding.
And even though that was kind of corny, I laughed because he kind of like, shh, and like was like running around.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, that would drive me nuts.
No.
That would drive me crazy if I couldn't hear. So that played into my
Like
insecurities.
sneaking up behind him. Yeah. It's actually
Yeah, he's
Again,
like,
cartoonish and Bugs
I did very
Bunny-ish.
cartoonish, but like Jordan.
Bugs Bunny-ish, but still, not being able to hear is one of my like, oh no.
and he has the chalkboard and he starts expanding it and expanding it. Like,
I have to say, I appreciated the expanding of the chalkboard. I didn't mind that.
yeah.
It was when he was like, they do that weird like thing with like when he was humping the chalkboard with his claws. That was a bit over the top for me.
Oh my God.
But I think that is my favorite kill. It has nothing to do with the kill. It has to do with the context, right? Because the way it starts off is, no, Mom, don't take my hearing away. And these are kids who are from abusive households who clearly
All
have
three of them
fucking
are,
trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is the only moment we get that kind of explores that in the dream, as brief as it is, and that's why, for me, this was the best kill.
Yeah, even the Tracy the Tracy stuff with her dad is like, and the dad gets his face smushed in, but that's still like really, and it's just like, I mean, they talk about it in like documentaries too, but it's like it's clear they don't like just say. You don't have to say it. You don't have to say it. She doesn't have to be like, she just says, I don't want to be touched. She never says, she's like, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't hit on me. And they never say like but we know. We just know. And that's, dare I say, subtle in a movie that is not subtle about anything like Freddy stuff.
Yeah. Well, these movies though, and that's where the remake completely didn't understand what the assignment.
We'll get to it.
These movies knew how to get the point across without saying the words. So if you notice throughout it, like anything that has to do with the actual like child molesting stuff, like they don't say out front. They hint around it where you get the point. It's just
a bit of it. He can be a manifestation of almost like anything, I think. And I think I'm sure like Robert Englund would say that too, where it's just like, just like, because some of the kids don't have like trauma, but they have like anxieties, even like less like it gets when it's like a bit happier. It's like not bullying, but like bullying, like your workouts, or like I'm not gonna let this get me down, or like it or like gay. I don't know. I think it's kind of interesting. And I was like,
hell twist, whatever it is, whether you like it or you don't like it.
Yeah.
Each kill is a little bit different.
Yeah, and
it's like Spencer likes video games and shit, and he likes smoking and stuff, but like. Freddy fucks with both of them and uses that to kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he just wasn't bouncing off the walls in the real world, while these people just look on, it changes the whole thing. But the fact that he's doing all that cartoonish shit in the real world is what makes me crazy.
It's not just like Tina being like, "Oh, boyfriend, cut her out."
I agree.
She's got some slashes on her belly. It's just like he bounced himself into a wall. What do you mean he bounced himself?
Like his neck didn't break the first one. His neck should have been broken the first one. No, we're gonna keep bouncing him down the hallway, downstairs, up again, punching through wall. How can he punch through a wall? He's still just a regular kid.
PCP or something. I don't know.
These kids, they're early 90s, man. I'm a cop.
I'll tell you this: as someone who works with children, how this all goes down is ridiculous to me. Because the woman who works, and I work with regular high school children, she's working with emotionally disturbed children, okay? She has 3 emotionally disturbed kids sneak on the bus with her. And her answer to that is, I'm busy. Drive home yourselves.
She was just like, I'm going to take John Doe with me. Just me and John Doe.
Yeah, just me and John Doe.
I know you're an adult, but don't take
it was actually kind of selfish when you think about it, though, because at that point she knew about the article he had, right? With the water tower, which was in her dream. So she was trying to solve her own shit and was like, all right, kids, get out of here.
Yeah, Picato is like, well, if I just take John Doe with me, the 17-year-old boy? Sure.
100%.
You think those kids are driving back to the hospital? Oh, okay, ma'am. We'll drive straight back to the hospital right away. No. Right. If they could leave that town, they would have fucking drove anywhere else but. They'd be living on the beach right now. And
they were trying to.
They were, which, by the way, they were trying to. And again, we're fucking driving around in circles, by the way, for the 3rd movie in a row.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And who's sleeping? How is he doing
that? Wasn't it Carlos, though?
No, because he wakes up. And he says the map says we're fucked.
The map says we're fucked, yeah.
So it was
then the 2 of them switch. Yeah, Breckenmeyer takes over, and then he also keeps going in circles.
Yeah, you're right. But also, the map says they're fucked, and he's awake. That happens in real life. Then the blood on
he kind of doze. I always assume that means you're dozing when it's like like a.
Yeah,
I think he does. I'm like dozing
because he has the scene where the map is like enveloping him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it's one of these slight smart things that the reboot did was the micro naps and stuff. That was actually
yes.
But whatever, we'll
get
there for that. But yeah, all right, fine. We'll explain it away with that.
Yeah.
The fact that we're just guessing is already telling you.
We're like intellectualizing this movie more than like the 5th one or like the.
We're writing the movie.
Why?
We're trying to write the movie for them.
This is ridiculous.
Now, here's another weird thing, though, right? So, Breckenmeyer is sucked into hell, and John Doe is dropped on spikes and left in Springwood just on the ground, I guess.
Yeah.
Just leave him there bleeding, and they get back, and she's like, "Yeah, those 2 kids, they snuck aboard the thing, and I told them to drive home, and they just escaped." And everyone goes, "What kids?" Since when can Freddy erase people from the universe?
That has never been a thing. That has never been a thing. This is Superman 4, where he starts getting abilities that never had before, and we're just fucking tacking on whatever the hell we want now. Just recreate Mount Rushmore. It doesn't matter. Anything. We can erase memories now.
It made
Nancy knew who Glenn was after he died. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That happened.
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
But then sometimes, Freddy versus Jason, which is one of my favorite ones, but they kind of do it better than whatever the heck. Well, this is just like nonsense, though. This is just like.
I know what you're getting at, but Freddy versus Jason actually they explain a lot more. I don't think we're going to be, I can't imagine we're going to be filling in gaps like what we're trying to do right now.
No. But this is, they do forget because he just has power.
This is logic whack-a-mole.
It's a thing. It makes no sense. And then Yaphet Kotto has a line because he's the only one who remembers them because he has done all of this inexplicable research into the dream demons.
He is the dream master.
He is the real dream master. And he says, of course I remember them. I've studied too much about dreams to be like taken in by that Freddy Krueger magic. And it's like, what are we talking about? Like,
so where have you been for 20 fucking years, dude? Where have you been, asshole? You could have prevented hundreds of deaths.
Yeah, Doc. Where the fuck were you during this whole thing?
He was in the
he was up in
that's where
he was on the Nostromo for a
he
couple
was on the
years.
Nostromo. He was on the Nostromo in all fairness.
He was trying to get a raise. That overtime was a bitch. So, And also, don't forget, he was on that game show with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura and everything.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I love that movie.
He was on that game show. You know what I mean?
I do know.
He had to fight Sub-Zero. No, wasn't Sub-Zero?
No, Buzzsaw.
Buzzsaw. It was Buzzsaw. That's what it
Buzzsaw.
was. Yeah.
He lived a life. I get it. I know.
He did. He was a James Bond villain for a while, so he was very busy before becoming Doc in this movie.
Imagine we find out that's Doc's past. Like it was just like all of this was happening.
No, that would be phenomenal if we find out that every single role Yaphet Kotto played is in the same timeline. It's all the same character.
Canon. It's all
Right.
canon. And I'm sure I've heard Yaphet Kotto would probably be like, yeah, they all were. Like he probably wouldn't be like, he's that method and kind of like kooky.
Yeah.
Oh, but then come on, guys. Then we get an Alien Freddy crossover.
Ooh.
Xenomorphs dreaming about Freddy.
Yes.
Who do you think would win, the Xenomorphs or Freddy?
Do
I
the Xenomorphs sleep?
They do, and
know.
you know they dream. No,
How
the
about-
Predators dream.
How about Freddy on The Running Man?
Freddy on the Running Man.
Freddy on the Running Man.
You hear Richard Dawson? He's the Springfield slasher. Freddy strapped to that fucking thing. What the hell's going on?
Imagine Freddy and Arnold having a quip battle back and forth with that.
Dude, that'd be the whole. It'd be Tango and Cash too.
Yes.
Every dialogue is a one-liner.
Like, where's the plot? Where's the script? No, just one-liners go back and forth. Ah.
Hey, big boy, I'm gonna amp you up. Yeah, I'm going to burn you up. That would be the whole movie.
That's the whole movie.
Oh man. Shit. Was it? I felt like there was
All
some
right.
other
So,
dumb shit.
yeah. Any other notes that we want to go through?
Oh well, we danced around it, but in Spencer's murder, we get the Johnny Depp cameo in
we
the
did.
drunk
That's right.
DSA.
We did get the Johnny Depp cameo,
I am
which is
impressed
weird.
that they got Johnny Depp to come back for this.
It's not Johnny Depp though. It's Oprah Noodlemeyer.
That's true. It is
Noodle
Oprah
Mantra.
Winfrey, yeah.
Noodle Mantra. I'm sorry.
Yes, he
Oprah
doesn't
Noodle
get credited
Mantra.
as Johnny Depp in it. You're right.
Oh, but that is Johnny Depp, though, right?
Johnny
It's
Depp.
Johnny
It's
Depp.
Johnny Depp.
It's Oprah Noodle Mantra.
You know Johnny Depp's fucking weird, so he would just be
Yeah,
like,
right, right.
You know it wasn't a big deal. Like Johnny, I want
Oh.
to be in the Nightmare on Elm Street. No. All right, how about you shoot something in your backyard and send it to me and I'll put it in the movie. All right, done. That's probably what it was. Like, I'm not going down there. I have myself with a frying pan and send it to you. Put it in the movie.
Well,
Okay, good.
I did see some behind the scenes footage like of him and Robert England. He probably did it for him as a favor or something.
It's so cute though.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my
Well,
guess. Yeah, of course.
You know, but the thing is, I actually listened to a podcast about a long time ago about A New Nightmare, which is Wes Craven, and Wes Craven wanted to get Johnny Depp back for that movie, but apparently Wes Craven had said like he didn't think Johnny would do it, and he just was kind of too. Johnny became a huge star at that point, and he was just kind of too, like, you know, he didn't want to ask because he didn't want him to say no. And many years later, Johnny Depp heard about that, and he went like, "Yeah, I'd have done it."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised, like if they asked Johnny Depp and he was like, "Oh, you want me to come back and do a nod in this franchise that I got my start in? Yeah, sure, I'll come in." Like,
Give me
I
like-
wouldn't be
give me like-
surprised.
Johnny Depp did Tusk. He'll do anything.
Did
Anything
he do-
weird,
would-
he'll do.
Johnny Depp's in Tusk.
Yeah, he
Johnny Depp
is.
in Tusk.
Now I have to see Tusk.
There you go.
Well,
Ed,
you should. I think you
Ed,
should.
I hate to tell you, Ed. I hate to tell you, Tusk has become one of those cult movies.
Jason.
It has.
Jason, this isn't like the pack that we made for 28 days later, but I would be very surprised if you like Tusk. I put it that way. I would be kind of
You don't like
surprised.
this.
I don't like Tusk. No, I don't.
Sad.
I'm not. Me and Tim saw it like the opening weekend or something.
That's what
When
that's Kevin
Smith
Smith, right?
Kevin
Yeah.
Smith asked Johnny Depp to be in the movie. Johnny Depp read the script, says, "I'll do it on one condition." He said, "What's that condition?" "I want to wear a prosthetic nose that looks like a dick." Done. Done. Johnny Depp's in the movie.
Oh my god, Johnny Depp's such a weirdo.
Yes. By the way, the house that they go to sleep in, right in Springwood,
Yeah.
when it turns into to Nancy's house, which actually was really Kristen's paper mache house,
Yes.
because that house became
Yes.
Kristen's paper mache house in this franchise for some
Yes,
weird,
that's right.
inexplicable reason.
Eh,
You know,
Yeah,
I never
that-
saw why that house is the house. I don't know.
I think every time every movie after 2 made some like, oh, the house is important. It was just to go, I mean, because 2 exists, we have to connect it somehow. Like, because honestly, that is the only movie where the house makes a difference. Even in 3, where we get the fucking house and we're going in there and everything, it's like you could have removed that, the whole house thing. It could have been any house. It doesn't matter that it was that house. Like,
and those 3 don't know.
Am I
wrong? Am I wrong?
I might have something.
All right.
This might be a stretch. I'm just throwing it out there because as you're saying this, it is where his glove was buried in the basement in the furnace, and no one ever said it got taken out of there. It may live there the entire
Marge.
time.
Yeah, Marge died. Marge died. She died.
Yeah,
she was just drinking
through the fucking.
still there,
yep.
probably.
Yeah, she burned herself alive or whatever the explanation
All right,
was.
but
why the big
then they
ruse?
should have explored that.
What?
Like, why the ruse? They don't know that house. Well, why do you have to have the house and become fucking Freddy's house? They should have just been, oh, let's sleep in here. Zoom out, bam, it's fucking that house. Oh,
Why the ruse?
The cunning attempt to trick them.
We're gonna crumble down. It's gonna be the house. Who cares? Like, no one cares.
Did you guys clock the Robert Shea cameo? Of course, like Hitchcock.
Oh, with the
No.
ticket.
Yeah,
No,
I knew you had it. I
I thought it was the teacher. I couldn't remember if it was the teacher or if it was like
no,
the
not
teacher.
Welcome to Freddy 101.
Not I.
Oh,
not
which
that guy.
I want to talk about that. I do
62. Freddy. I think it really does stick with me.
So, in 1492, Freddy sailed the ocean blue. Anyway, no, that's not what I wanted to say. I have a question about the adults in this.
Just start one of your classes like that, brother.
Please do. Please do.
God,
You should just be that
Please
guy
do
to
it.
start.
Jason, I'll give you $100 if you do it and film it for me and see what your students say.
I mean, I'll do it for free. You don't have to give me $100, but I have to wait for next Halloween. I need context.
Yes.
But my question is this: like, do the adults, like, what is that guy's life like? Okay, yeah, they've all gone crazy. But does he get up every morning thinking he's teaching high school and gets dressed and walks and lectures for 6 hours, 50 minutes or 7 hours, whatever, and then goes home? Like, that's my problem with the adults have all gone crazy and the kids are gone. It's like in all the other Freddy movies, the adults were shitty people, but the world is populated with shitty people and they were completely believable. And I never questioned what did they do when they're not on screen.
It's like reverse
cannot
Children of the Corn. You know what I mean?
Right. And I cannot imagine what these adults are doing every fucking day. Are they all going to fairs and looking for kids and teaching no one? Like, everything about the adults seems set up to give exposition.
Or they're all Freddy. They all should be Freddy. They all should be Freddy, right? Like
something else.
Like Roseanne and Tom Arnold just slowly turn into a Freddy, maybe.
And
it's all a dream. It's just all a big weird dream.
I think Jason, I think it's what you said. I think they just keep replaying the same thing over and over. I guess I don't know. I think it's just a so goofy thing.
And now I have to ask, if that is the case, how does the infrastructure of this town be maintained? If everyone is on this weird infinite loop of I'm crazy enacting what I do every day because I'm afraid of Freddy and all the kids are dead, how is this town not falling apart?
Boomer money. Boomer money.
Right. Like it's just the fact, this 10-year jump and the fact that we have altered this town in such a fucking huge way makes so many problems for me. Sadly, this reminds me a lot of the Jason Goes to Hell. Ooh, right? Where it's like, we're going to take it and we're going to take it up a notch. But at least Jason Goes to Hell goes, we all inexplicably know he exists.
Right. And we're like monetizing it a little bit too.
Right.
Well, we can talk about that when we get to Freddy vs. Jason.
I'll talk about Jason Goes to Hell right now. That movie is so weird to me, and I love it.
Because, I mean, Freddy vs. Jason that town is perfectly normal and explains perfectly why no one dreams or anything. And that, I'm trying to jump ahead, but, Springwood's back to normal then. So are they ignoring? Yeah. Are they ignoring Freddy's dead? Right. Is that town even? I'm gonna go with that town's not even real. I think
Yes,
that's-
I think. Yeah, it cannot be real.
I think that's a Freddy thing. I think him with the whole barrier and shooting people,
Why
that
don't
whole.
he just say that? Why doesn't he just come out and
Yeah,
say
I
I
don't.
did
I
this?
don't I'm not gonna.
thing?
I can't believe that that's not the actual Springwood of an actual reality. I think that's him fucking with everybody.
Well, we never say it. We just never. He just never
Yeah.
says. And I did this for no good reason, like because I don't like. Just say it. Easy.
No.
Dive right in, write it.
But I'm gonna say, but no, he really did kill those kids because the scroll told us that.
We have to
No,
kind
I'm
of
not
go. I'm
saying
with
that.
Jason. We have to
I'm
kind
saying
of
the
agree.
town, though, the way the town is.
The Tom
It's
Arnold.
just to fuck with everybody. I don't think
Yeah.
the town it was exactly the way that way.
But when
No,
they
but
get
it did
there,
say
Well, no, but they
specifically
said-
that all the adults were suffering from psychosis.
A shared psychosis, I think
real.
it says.
Oh
Specifically,
yeah, I forgot about the fucking scroll.
The
I don't
scroll,
trust
the
it.
scroll
Yeah, no,
fucks
no.
up a lot of shit with this movie.
The scroll is terrible. I would believe everything. I would accept everything you're saying if the scroll didn't contradict it.
Fuck
The
that
fastest-
scroll.
and that's why it's a bad movie.
The fastest way to fix the movie would have been like, forget the fucking 10-year time jump. Forget
Forget
all
it.
that bullshit. Freddy's back again because he's back somehow, Palpatine style, like usual. And let's just go. Let's just go with it. That's it. And then he's trying to find his daughter. That stupid, and it's the Twin Peaks thing. Because in the interviews that I was watching, she said that that was part of her inspiration. So if she forgot her stupid Twin Peaks idea to make it a weird town, then this movie probably gets fixed a lot.
Yeah. It could have just been, no, there are still kids here, but look, I'm going to kill them all eventually. I need to franchise.
It would have made
could
more
been
sense
that.
if they said anyone with a kid moved. They're all gone.
That too.
The only people that left are fucking white trash, rednecks, lunatics. It makes a little bit more sense.
Agreed.
Yeah, and Ginny, that's why we're prodding at this thing right now, because I've known with Jason now is that because they went grander with the once they decide to wipe out a town, you made the story bigger.
Yeah.
So now this is what causes the logic to be questioned a lot.
No,
And
you
you're-
deal with
and-
that.
Yeah, you're
you
right,
can
though.
Call
And-
out or what repercussions that is. So if you get outside forces, this is Children of the Corn, man. I think about Children of the Corn a lot. I go the town is just, how do they have power? How do the kids have power?
So whenever Springwood repopulates and we catch up with them and Freddy versus Jason, right? But that movie does a lot of explaining though. They talk about Hypnosil.
Yes.
They talk about how they got rid of Freddy temporarily and stuff like that.
It's an Oscar-winning movie.
yeah.
It's an Oscar.
No, at least they
Well, it's-
decided to pay attention to some details.
Yeah.
So we need a little fan fiction. Now we should write fan fiction right now between this
I'll do
movie
it.
and Freddy vs. Jason of how Springwood managed to come back.
I have read the good fan fiction where we're bringing in all of the children of Elm Street, and it was Lisa and Mark and Alice's baby, and the kids were teenagers. It's good stuff.
Jenny, are you referring to the comic book thing?
I'm not. I just know I saw
Ash versus Freddy versus Jason.
I haven't read it. I read weird scripts of maybe it was fan fiction, but it was good fan fiction. I was like, this is something you could have done. I have not read the Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
I was
but
actually
think
gonna.
it's
I don't
coming,
own
right?
it, but I was gonna get it for when we do Freddy versus Jason because I read some of the stuff. If you just look up Wikipedia and look up
Okay.
Ash versus Freddy versus Jason, the surviving Elm Street people team up, and Alice and Jacob are two of them. They team up with the survivors of Friday the 13th,
Friday the 13th.
and they choose to fight them and stuff like that.
Okay. I gotta read
And
it.
with Ash, obviously, they team up with him to do this whole thing.
I will find it.
God, was that such a missed opportunity.
I know.
I
Yeah,
needed
was
Bruce
like,
Campbell and Robert Englund in the same fucking movie together.
Can
I
I tell
would
you
just
that?
like to hear how Springwood rebounded from a town full of lunatics to a perfectly back to normal town with kids and teenagers and everything good, and until Jason fucked all that up. But it's an interesting story if they keep the canon the way it is.
Yeah.
And like you said, one little line could have changed it. Anybody with a kid moved. Boom. Right there. Yeah. You're like, all right, I get it. I know there's no kids left in town. Yeah. They all moved because they were afraid they were going to die.
And if you want to make it...
There were easier ways to get what they wanted than to jump 10 years.
Yeah.
and say that Freddy killed everyone and drove everyone else crazy. Like,
And then,
you're right.
Yeah, a shared psychosis.
3 years have gone by. 3 years have gone by. Everyone with a kid left. Some kid wandered in. Freddy pounced on him, and then we get John Doe.
Yeah,
Like,
and the lunatics were fucking mad. Oh my god, this stupid kid! They go after the kid because he's here. That he may bring Freddy back, and it turns into a whole other kind of plot line. But I think it's better off than just a town full of lunatics teaching an empty classroom, or going to a fair that's not really there, or whatever. All year round, I should say. But I don't know. Again, one little line could have fixed that whole story.
I wanted to know more about because Peter Jackson wrote a script for this that never got obviously accurate. He did. I know this sort of. They talk about it again in the. Is it in the special features? I'm not really sure, but or was it Never Sleep Again? I don't know where the hell I got this from, but I know he wrote some sort of a script where there was like when Freddy was weakened and stuff, and it's like some kids were just being teenagers and being dicks and like would go in to sleep on purpose to like fuck him up and all this other shit. Yeah. And then eventually, obviously, it turns the other way around, and then he gets rejuvenated and stuff like that.
But then again, it's like the Peter Jackson like new line. They're like, you can do the Frighteners and then do Lord of the Rings. But I was like, he could have done a Freddy movie first, and then maybe he didn't. But then he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't do Lord of the Rings, which is weird.
I don't know because he did Dead Alive, so if you're gonna do that.
Yeah, Dead Alive is I Kick Ass for the Lord, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The devil is amongst us. Stand back.
And I've never seen that movie. I only know that quote from you because you used to quote that all the time in high school.
Because it's ridiculous. Jason, you actually should see that movie.
You should watch it.
It's ridiculous.
It is a gross. I'll never forget. I watched a horror documentary and I was like way too young before I saw any horror movies. And I saw clips of that movie that I go, that's the most disgusting, horrific thing. Like, I was like, not that I dreamt. I was like, I just what like trash movie is this? Like punching of like it's like insane. And it's Peter Jackson. You're like,
the fact that you find that as Peter Jackson is where you're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
The Lord of the Rings guy?
You mean the guy who did like these 3 very high budget, beautiful Lord of the Rings movies? Mm-hmm. Also did Dead Alive and Meet the Feebles. I don't know if you've seen
I saw Meet the Feebles like a year ago, and I was like, "This is great."
How great would it have been though if we would have gotten a Nightmare of Freddy's Dead or whatever it would have ended up being if it was done by Peter Jackson?
A lot of work.
I was waiting for that.
Better than that.
Hey, they didn't take the van then. They would have walked from whatever town that was to Springwood.
Right. How do we get rid of Freddy? You got to take the glove and throw it into a hole. Throw it into a volcano. Freddy's dead. Done.
And then, of course, Freddy comes out and one of the kids becomes a priest. I kick ass for the Lord.
How great we would have gotten with that. Jason, that movie is so completely insane. It's
you
disgusting.
Have to watch it. Oh my god.
You should watch Dead Alive for like homework.
Regina will like it. Does Regina like gore? It's very like gross gore.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine with supernatural gore. It's only body horror I don't like.
It's kind of body horror. It's very body horror.
There's a lot of zombies and stuff getting
a lot of like
apart. There's a lawnmower.
No, but it's zombie shit. That's a zombie.
Like,
that's all different. I'm talking Saw.
And like tummies and a lot of tummy stuff.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. That's fine.
Tim, have you seen? Did you see?
I'm talking human on human.
I haven't seen it.
Oh wow! Oh my god!
It's funny. It's just funny. It's very.
It
funny.
is. No, it's a horror comedy. It's not meant like. It doesn't take itself seriously in the least. I mean, we have the priest. Come on.
Exactly.
The kung fu priest. That's all you got to know.
It's a great. And the whole graveyard scene is like brilliant. It's so
good.
All right, I do got to see this movie.
All
right. So, anything else before we talk about if this is a nightmare or dreamscape? Anything else in our notes or anything else that we've been dying to talk about that we didn't get to in our conversation?
Checking my notes.
Checks notes.
I do just want to end on that note. Like, Happy Father's Day, and I'm like, but it's not Father's Day.
If this movie was released on Father's Day weekend or something, I would have been like, "That's fucking genius." But no.
That'd have been great.
Oh, actually, I did want to ask Tim something though, and Jason, you did see this in 3D, or no?
Yeah, like a long time ago, but
like
5 years ago.
Okay, did you guys know when to put the glasses on?
Yeah, well, they said so in the movie.
No, when
Yeah,
they don't tell you,
they
she
say-
puts them on.
That's it. That's the only reason you'd know.
No, well, Tim, though, I meant to.
Oh, I mean, did I put them on right in the beginning?
No, yeah. When you went to see this in the theater, did you know when to? Because I thought there was something in the theater that prompted you, that told you when to put them on.
It did. It said don't put them on until
She puts them on.
not Freddy, but it said don't put them on until we tell you to put them on or something, or you can hurt your eyes or some bullshit.
Yeah, there was something.
There's like a thing.
Yeah.
I thought there was. Was it on the screen or was it like they told you? Because
No,
there
I
was
think
something.
It was something on the screen. Don't put these on until you can, or you can hurt your eyes or some bullshit.
There was something that told you something. Yeah, along the lines of don't put them on until she puts them on or something like that. Like that's why she like here's 3D glasses,
Yeah.
and then she puts them on, and then everything changes. But Jason, you didn't have any of that. Did you know when to do it?
No, I think I just put it on when Yafet Kodo said to put them on. I was like, clearly she's putting them on. the 3D stuff is coming. It's not going to kill me to put them on and wait.
Okay. I was just curious because I've always wondered about that. Like, did people just walk into theaters and slap them on and stuff like that? I could have sworn in the theater though there was some sort of thing that told you. Yeah,
there was a warning. There was a warning. Yeah,
I'm gonna say there probably was. It's because it's not like it is today where like everything, we're so used to 3D. It's like, here's the glasses, you put them on as soon as the screen changes. Like, I think I would not be surprised if like there was something that was only in the theater saying put these glasses on, because it's just not something that we were used to at the time. Like, I don't think anyone was walking in putting them on right away.
No, there was definitely something that prompted you to do that before the movie started or something. I do remember something along the lines. But I was just curious, if you didn't have that, did you know when to do it or not?
Yeah, there was a warning. Yeah. There was a warning back in the day.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
All right. So our final round, is this a nightmare or dreamscape? And I'm going to add a second question to this. Is it a nightmare and dreamscape as a movie? And separate question, is it a nightmare or dreamscape as the conclusion to this series, which we did all at the time think this is all we were getting from Freddy. No. We did get a couple more things after, and we'll explore that after this. But again, as a movie itself, standalone, as an end to the series. Tim, I feel that I have ignored you most tonight, so I'm going to ask you to start us.
You haven't ignored me. It's fine. I'm going no on both accounts. No, it's just not a good movie. I said, we all said there's a movie there. It's there. It's begging to come out, but just way too many poor choices, including acting. And, I like Breckenmeyer, but it's like, dude, you suck in this one. That's for sure. Think like this is like your first movie because you suck. You're all bad. The movie was bad. And as far as a send-off goes, I would put this, again, at the time when we thought it was the last one, horrible way for a character to go out. A horrible, horrible way for a legendary character to go out like that. So, yeah, I was disappointed. Thank God they came to their senses and, had the revival that they did. So I'm going to go nightmare on both of those questions.
All right. Excellent. Ed, what about you?
Nightmare on both. It's not a good movie. Again, I don't hate it. Like, I don't wake up daily cursing it and stuff like that, like something else. But,
like the Joker?
Yeah, exactly. I don't do that. But it's just it's not good. I would be surprised if I go back to watch it again. Honestly, unless again something triggers like we're doing Nightmare on Elm Street again. And for as far as it goes to the end of a series, it's bad. It's a bad way to end it. Thankfully, it wasn't the end. That we did get one more of this Freddy Krueger, because obviously New Nightmare is not a continuation. Right. But thankfully, he did get a much higher note to go out on. So, yeah, and I don't like. And again, going through this critical lens, it's different from when I was a kid. I was a bit more forgiving then, but no, it's bad.
Yeah. Ginny, how about you?
Yeah, I have to say nightmare on both, like in a bad way. And I love this again. When I was, I don't know, I think I still love this movie. It's not good. And even when I saw the documentary Sleep No More back when it was like 10 years ago, and that documentary came out, and they were defending it, and they were like, "Oh, this is like awesome," and I was like, "Yeah, it's it was just like misunderstood. They tried really hard, and they were just trying new ideas. It just doesn't. It's not good. It's just not like it can be surreal to me. That montage is awesome at the end of the day." It's just not a good movie. Like I like 5 more than I like this. I realized that's what I don't know what that's about me, but I was like, it's a nightmare. It's not a good way to end. I'm happy we kept going.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna have to agree with everyone. Like I did enjoy parts of this movie. I don't hate this movie. I don't even dislike this movie. I think it's fine. But it would be unfair if I asked you guys to say, is it good or bad? And I went, middle ground. So I'm gonna have to say it's more bad. There's more bad stuff here than good. But I do, because it's my first, and because it kind of helped me break my fear of this franchise in its complete lack of anything scary. I do kind of enjoy it, but as an end to this series, as someone who has been critically deep diving the series with you guys for 5 or 6 movies now, this is fucking abysmal. This is an abysmal way to end such an iconic series, and they had to do something after this. If this was the last we ever saw of Freddy proper, because Freddy proper is not in the next movie we're going to do, and we'll get into that next time. But if this is the last Freddy proper we ever got to see, I'd be super pissed off, because it's like I was introduced to a fucking fierce predator in the first one, and you retired him as Bugs Bunny, and it's just such a disgraceful way to put this character out.
It's Rocky 5.
It's Rocky.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That's a good one.
Except I don't know if I enjoy Rocky 5 as a
down
movie.
to the end credit montage. Rocky 5 and Elm Street.
Wow, Tim, Tim, I admit that's great. I did not make that connection. You're right. We kept Balboa later to save it.
And we got Freddy and Jason later.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what it is. Freddy versus Jason is Rocky Balboa.
Tim, you're batting 1,000 tonight, man. You brought in Wizard of Oz. You brought in Rocky.
When you think about the montage at the end, I think of Rocky right away. And that's why I was like, oh, shit, this is kind of the same movie. When you think about it. There's a movie in Rocky 5. They just didn't execute it correctly. Boom, same thing.
Exactly what's happening here. Any thoughts on the fight? I'm glad you brought that up. So, what were your reactions on the end credit scroll, the montage?
Oh, it was cool. You obviously see your old friends again. Yeah, all your friends die. But yeah, no, it was great. You say it brought you back to a better time in the franchise. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it ends with a R.I.P. Freddy, which tells you that in their hearts, they really were trying to retire Freddy. Like they weren't fucking around, until they probably got the box office seats eventually, and they were just like, "All right, Wes, what do you got here for us?" Yeah,
it's terrible. Ginny, what'd you think about this end scroll?
It's so scary to me. It's so scary. It's so dark. Like, I don't know if it's like the graininess of it, and it's scary. And Iggy Pop's song is scary. And I don't like, and when I saw it in the 5th movie, it scared me even more, because some of the 5th movie stuff is scary to me. It's like when he's like in the water and he comes up and he shoots the water up out of his mouth. That's really scary to me. It's in the 5th movie. Because he's like, they get in the boiler. I don't know why. It's creepy and he's scary. He's so creepy. He's creepy in the montage.
So I'll tell you my takeaway from this montage, and the thing that I hyper focused on was budget, because you could see the difference in budget depending on what movie you were in. I knew exactly what movie we were in every single one of them, because we just watched these movies. Yep. And so it's like you got grainy, like gritty film in the first one, and then you got the 5th one where it's like, ooh, yeah.
Money.
So that was my takeaway, is like you can really see how this franchise changed just by that end credit scroll.
But also, when I watched that for the first time, the song is called Freddy's Dead. So you don't expect, I don't know why I was a kid and watching the montage and the song is called Freddy's Dead. It's like so on the nose. And I'm like, man, I'm like, what? Like, it's so like, I don't know. I'm like, am I hearing that right?
They wanted to make sure we all knew he wasn't coming
Yes.
back, and then he came back.
Can you imagine because if you watch Never Sleep Again, the whole documentary, it doesn't paint New Line in a good way. Can you imagine if they actually sat down and like, listen, we're going to write a good script. We're going to put a little bit of money in this. We're going to take our time instead of, holy shit, 3 was a success. We got to put out 4 now. Holy shit.
Yeah.
4 is a success. We got to write 5 now. 5 doesn't have a script. Well, let's just start shooting anyway. Like, can you imagine like if they actually sat down and took their sweet ass time and fucking developed these movies?
Gosh, well, like think about, is the Crow New Line? Is the Crow?
No.
Because Mortal Kombat's
the
New
first
Line.
one might
The
have been.
Mask is New Line. But those are like fun. But I feel like that's
No, it's Miramax.
It's Miramax.
Oh,
It's those
Miramax.
Miramax
Okay,
Plus.
But I was like, these like I don't know, like the Mask and like Mortal Kombat. That's like
Teenage
go
Mutant
and
Ninja Turtles.
and Ninja Turtles and Ninja
That
Turtles.
that was in between Dream Child and Freddy's Dead.
That is my
Ninja
favorite.
Turtle, first one.
Yeah,
Fantastic. Well, we gotta rush the next one. Let's go. Fuck.
Yeah.
seems to be a theme with New Line. No,
Yeah.
Well, also,
Yeah.
we got to rush the next one and take all the violence and blood out of it, right? And we talked about how this is a PG-13 Freddy movie.
Ninja Turtles 2, there's no weapons. Nothing. Nothing happened in Ninja Turtles 2.
Salami. That's it.
Yeah.
You get the Steven Seagal.
yes. And for those if you want to see a breakdown of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, Jason and I did that for quite some time a couple months ago. Was it a year? I don't know. It was last year. I don't know.
It was last year.
Holy shit.
That was a good run. I actually don't remember anything about that third movie. I just flushed it from my
Oh
memory.
my gosh.
So terrible. It was so terrible. Oh man.
But all right, so thank you everyone for joining us on our deep dive into the Nightmare on Elm Street universe. We're gonna be back in 2 weeks. We're back. We took a little hiatus because Ginny was in a show. The show's over, so we're gonna be back in 2 weeks, and we're gonna be looking at a new Nightmare, which that's another one I have some history with. I know Ed has some history with. I think we all have history with that one. We'll have Wes Craven. Before we go, Ed, you want to plug some Granny stuff?
Yeah, we got an episode out right now talking about the Penguin finale along with it was Logan and also the latest episode of Superman and Lois, so you can go and check us out there. But we'll be back Wednesday. We'll be wrapping up finally our Fox X-Men era with the New Mutants, which was inspired by Nightmare on Elm Street 3, A Dream Child, because it's actually a horror movie within the Fox X-Men universe. So check us out there, and we'll be talking about episode 9 of Superman and Lois.
All right, Tim, you got anything on the network to promote?
On Sportsman Conduct, always going on. For all your sports needs, we're here usually on Wednesdays and Friday, I believe. We'll be doing a Just Too Sweet show for Survivor Series War Games, which is on Saturday. So look for us sometime Friday. We'll be doing that one.
All right, Ginny, I know you don't know the show on the network, but you just want to say goodbye or promote something that you're doing in real life.
All of you, what I see. I haven't watched anything lately. I gotta watch Penguin. I gotta finish Penguin. I'm almost there.
Yeah. Oh no, you gotta watch Penguin. No, you gotta watch it. Can't ruin it. All right. So thank you very much, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. Welcome to prime time, bitch.